And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China! All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
It's time to dance. It's time to dance. Dance, sucker.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. When
There's only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that he was because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
I talk about the left, the Democrats, and how they prey with BLM on our outrage. Even when I put up the DEFCON 3 tweet, I was outraged at this point.
What does DEFCON 3 mean?
It's like level of
actually when it's DEFCON,
it's like nuclear war shit.
But I spelled it wrong. I have a tendency to do that. But DEFCON is actually that you're preparing to protect yourself.
Anti-Semitic statements are never good for anybody, right? It's kind of like being anti-black.
But it's really interesting. I didn't realize that I could be considered anti-Semitic till I read one of the definitions of anti-Semitism. Look at this. The definition says, making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective, such as, especially, but not exclusively. This sounds like a, let it go by. What was that? All right, so it says, think about it, that sounds like the type wording that's in the contracts, right?
Indeed.
Such as, especially, but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
But isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
Right.
So I didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey, you know, I have a Jewish attorney, I have a Jewish record label, I have a Jewish contractor, I have a
Do you regret your statements?
Are the statements you think you should be walking back? I mean, considering...
What do you mean walking back?
Well, you know, backing up off of them. I mean, the thing is, you've lost a lot of endorsements. People are dropping you. You're getting, you know, vilified. You know, I mean, you might think you're right, but I think, you know, there's a whole world out there that's condemning you for what you said.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
Do you think they stuck together when they heard what you said? Was that what happened?
It's unfortunate timing that we're in, but I'm glad that I could stand on the truth because I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. I used to be looking everyone in the eye and telling them the truth, and I'm proud of who I am. Any label that you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I study. I know the Oxford Dictionary, you look it up, right? Just one of the biggest mistakes I had in being a kid was not knowing European or Western language until I started looking it up and understanding the definitions and why they say, if you want to trick a black person, put it in the book. I was wondering my whole life why they said that. Now I'm 30 years old and I know reading is a superpower because it helps me understand where I'm going and where I come from. Like a tree with roots.
Kyrie, the documentary listed among falsehoods. It said the Holocaust didn't happen. Do you believe the Holocaust
those falsehoods
happened?
are unfortunate. And it's not that I don't believe in the Holocaust. I never said that. Never, ever have said it. It's not come out of my mouth. I never tweeted it. I never liked anything like it. So the Holocaust in itself is an event that means something to a large group of people that suffered something that could have been avoided. No one said we had to practice racism. No one said we had to treat each other like garbage.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope and pray that all is well with you guys. Let me adjust my camera here. There we go. All right, that's much better. Not sure why I was way over to the right of your screen, but I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope all is well with you guys. I hope and pray that you guys had a blessed Shabbat. I want to say peace and blessings to my cousin. Family, show my cousin some love right here. Shalonda Carr, the wife of my cousin, the late Dr. Sean Carr. Let's show her some love. Really appreciate you, cuz. Love you, and you know that we're here for you, and we're family. So you know we're here for you. So I definitely will be reaching out to you offline tomorrow. But really appreciate you and all that you do. Really appreciate you, and everyone that's watching here appreciate you as well. So again, family, show my cousin some love. Show my family some love. And again, appreciate you, sis. Love you. All right, family. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And I know I share with you guys a lot of clips here, right? You know, we've been, the whole Kyrie Irving, the Kanye West. I know that's been, very exhausting covering that over the past 6 weeks. That has been the talk. That has been the thing that has been circulating on social media. That's been the buzz. And so I know many are doing a lot of commentaries on that whole situation. And even with the Hebrews to Negroes, I find it that not many are really doing commentary on Hebrews to Negroes to do like a fact check. So me and a friend of mine named Moxie, he has his own channel called Moxie Approved. We decided to come up with just collaborate and do a review of Hebrews to Negroes and a fact check. Thank you, cuz. Really appreciate the love and support. And again, family, show my cousin here some love, show her some support here. Thank you again, cuz. Really appreciate you. Thank you again. And on that note too, as well, I'm going to be dropping a video within the next day or two, dealing with the road to Savannah, that is really dealing with our heritage, all of our heritage, but really the Carr family playing a role in Savannah, right? The First African Baptist Church in Savannah, Georgia, got some very, very powerful information that is going to be revealed, unpacking a lot of some deception. I'm not going to touch on any of the names, but some deceptions, right? To really deceive, every attempt to deceive our people with lies. All right. But we're going to cover that as well. But thank you again, because I really appreciate the love and support. I really appreciate you. Love you. So family, again, show my cousin some love here. Appreciate you. All right. So me and my friend Moxie Approved, we did we did it was like 4 hours. He started off, did a 1 hour commentary, and then I jumped in and got a lot of views off that video. I believe the video is pushing about 150,000 views right now, because I believe that many people want to know, is there a review? Is there a video out there that gives kind of address some of the things that have been circulating in the news outlets about, anti-Semitism? And so we went on and did a collaboration, and it went over very well. And so I was asked by some that follow this channel that if I could do one for We Woke Now. And so that's last week I did part one. On his channel, we did we combined it all into one. But this one, we're going to deal with a continuation of last week. And then we're going to continue on. And I want to touch on a little more about the DNA stuff, because, there's a lot of deception that's going on about the DNA. And I encourage you guys, this book right here, because there's a rabbi by the name of Harry Rosenthal, Harry Rosenberg rather, that is making his rounds on different platforms, and a lot of the things that he is promoting is no different than what the Catholic Church is promoting: conversion. And he made some very way out there, um, um, made some, put some things out there that can be very way out there in terms of him being able to, uh, take his lineage all the way back to pointing to King David, stating that he's related to King David, right? And we're going to deal with that. But he's been really going on a lot of channels. A lot of our brothers and sisters have been bringing him onto the platform and really not addressing the elephant in the room. And a lot of the things that he says is really dealing with that word Jew, that word Jewish, is nothing more than a descriptor, a title, to be honest with you, for converts. That's all it is. That's why you have so many different DNA strands, like the Y chromosome, all through there. Is because starting with that very point, or what I just made, is converts. He's sharing how, what's his name, Amari Stoudemire, converted. He converted over to Judaism, right? He knew that he was a Hebrew, but he converted over to uh, Judaism, right? And we're going to touch on that. I want to say peace and blessings to the elephant that's in the room, Elephant Man Podcast. Peace and blessings to you. So we got a lot to cover. So we're going to get into it right now. Don't want to prolong the time any longer, but this is a good book to get right here. The Origin of Ashkenazi Jewry. We're going to touch on this a little bit tonight. This right here exposes everything, every test that was created. Every test that the Jewish community, as we know them, created to try to, in attempt to justify their community, and the key, when you go through that, you'll find that we were not part of the test. We were not part of the major test. It made it a point to keep us out of the major testing, the formulas that they put together to justify who's who. So we got a lot to deal with tonight, family, and also don't get upset about the whole Kyrie situation, about Kyrie apologizing. Don't get upset, because I know some of our brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you, man, some of you guys can be very, very cruel, man. It's like, wow, calling them names and then insinuating that people are worshiping celebrities. It's not about that. The Most High use Kanye and also Kyrie to push this conversation even further, because you could Google it. You'll see people posting videos about going and watching Hebrews to Negroes because of the conversations, trying to figure out, why is this movie, what's so big about the movie? And some of them are sharing their testimonies. You have people that are not part of our groups, that are part of the Caucasian race, the white race per se. They're coming out bearing witness, saying, hey, you know what? They learned a lot. They changed. And referring to us as being the people of the book. So with that, I'm we could be disappointed, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. So I'm not going to throw him under the bus. He served a purpose, just like Kanye West served a purpose. And guess what? Just like all of you served a purpose. How many times have you reneged on something that you said you would stand on and you didn't stand completely on it? Doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Come on now, especially if many of you guys grew up in the church. I'm sure many of you were on the altar saying how yeah, if you do this for me, I'll do this. I'll turn my life around. I do this. I do that. I do this. I do that. And then when the stuff hit the fan, you got what you wanted. And then all of a sudden you back out there, completely forgot about the Most High until you back on the altar again, needing help. So let's not be hypocritical with our assessment, when it comes to these discussions. Kyrie served a purpose. Kanye served a purpose. Guess what? When this situation happened with Whoopi Goldberg earlier this year, around February, she served a purpose. And guess what? There's going to be someone else that's going to push that conversation even further. So let's not be hypocritical. Let's not throw them up under the bus. Let's not do that, family. Let's not do that. The Most High did not call us to do that. No matter what, He's still our brother. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback when you're not under fire. It's easy to say what I would do when you're not under fire. All right. So let's be very conscientious of that. But again, we want to deal with the thing of we're going to deal with a lot tonight. We're going to deal with unpacking some of the lies that some of the things that that is circulating in terms of the DNA and some of the other stuff. We'll cover it. I'm not going to let the cat out the bag. And family, regardless of him apologizing or not, guess what? Let's still hold true to boycotting. Boycott them all. Boycott the NBA. Boycott Nike. Boycott Adidas. Boycott Black Friday. Boycott them all. Boycott them all. Boycott them all. And I hope and pray that you guys still do that. I hope and pray that we stand our guns, right? And I want to make sure that is a pretty much a metaphor, for some that may take it out of context. When I say that hold our guns, I mean stand your ground, hold your position, don't buckle, don't waver. All right. So let's go and get into it, family. Let's go and get into it. And also another book I have here, I meant to mention, right? Genetic Disorders Among the Jewish Community or the Jewish People by John. This is from John Hopkins. Got tons of sources. Another good book here that really gives the truth, right? From, things that diseases to even give you information about who's who, right? I'll just leave it at that. So let's go ahead and stretch the screen out here. All right, let's see here. All right, there we go. So let's stretch this out. Let's go ahead and get into it. We have a lot to unpack tonight. I want to say peace and blessings to everyone that's jumping on. I want to encourage everyone, hit that like button, right? Subscribe to the channel, share the video. And we got a lot to unpack tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it. Going back to this Rolling Stones article that really started it all. And I want to, before I get started, I got my little heater, my little office heater, because it's really cold out here today and tonight. And where my office is, I'm like right where, a lot of, I guess the angle of the house where I'm at is like sometimes it could get really cold here. So got my desk heater here. If it's making a lot of noise in the background, let me know and I can turn it down, right? So with that being said, let me know if my desk heater is making too much noise. If it's making too much noise, type 1. If you're good, type 2. All right. So yeah, got my little desk heater right here. All right. So yeah, like I said, it's freezing right now. And especially when you have an empty nester, we don't need to have like I'm downstairs, and so we just don't have everything running full force. All right. So everything is good. Okay, cool. All right, good. Appreciate you guys. All right. So again, when I'm downstairs, and of course, heat rises, and like I said, and my office is literally right next to the door. All right. So cool. All right. You guys can't hear it. Great. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Really appreciate the love for everyone. Thank you guys for the responses. All right. I appreciate you guys. Mr. Pirate Brain, I really appreciate you guys for the responses. And we're going to get into it, and I'm going to ask some questions so that way you guys can respond, and that way I could give some shout outs in the process of it, because we've been getting more and more inside our chats. So it's been kind of hard to actually, give shout outs. All right. So let me know, moderators, if I need to adjust the chat. If it's going too fast, or if I need to make adjustments to where as though only those that are subscribed to the channel can post in the comment section. If that helps managing it, let me know and I'll make whatever necessary adjustments. All right. But let's be respectful in the comment section. It's okay for us to disagree, but let's be respectful even in our disagreements. Let's not call any names, because when I say they, YouTube is doing a lot to censor this, not just this channel, but all those channels that's teaching this truth. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. All right. The Rolling Stones. All right. The Rolling Stones, John Blistein, Kyrie Irving boosts anti-Semitic movie peddling Jewish slave ships. Okay, so this is we covered a lot out of this article. We unpacked a lot, and this is kind of like a working document, a moving document, because they're constantly updating this document, right? And I just hope and pray that Ron Dalton, I pray that he get a legal team if he doesn't have one, and file charges. Take these guys to court, starting with the Rolling Stones, because what they put out there is a lot of lies. Well, actually, they just put out lies. I'm not going to say a lot of lies. They just slandered, and so far we debunked the things that they highlighted inside this article. But anyway, this is the article that triggered it all, and what we dealt with here last week, where it says here the video is based on venomously anti-Semitic book, which asserts that many famous high-ranking Jews have admitted to worshiping Satan or Lucifer. And I did give the source that he made reference to, and went to that source, and they confirmed it. But we're going to go further here, right? Because we're going to deal with also what was highlighted was also Freemasons admitting to satanic worship. All right. And I got some additional information that I'm going to share with you coming out of the Talmud, coming out of some of that, what is called the other rabbinical literature. So let's go to get it in. So is John Blistein correct? Did he accurately quote Ron Dalton? Does the other rabbinical Jewish literature, do they promote the worship of Satan? We got a lot to cover right here. We got to answer this question. Some of this information is going to be familiar to you guys, because I did some of this information is in the lesson that I did about the globes, the Greek letter organizations. But follow me here, because I got some additional stuff that I added here that's not in that presentation. So does Freemasonry, does the Freemasons and Judaism, do they promote Judaism? Does the Freemasonry or Freemasons, do they promote Judaism? And I'm going to answer this question. Excuse the typo. I should have read my my presentation, but charge it to my head, not to my heart. But let's start with this here. And family, this is so prevalent. This warning that Apostle Paul had given, right, to the assembly of Corinth. He said, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work. Right? So we see here this Apostle Paul is highlighting how deceptive Hasatan is, transformed into an angel of light. Right? So he's trying to be the truth. But he didn't stop there. He said, but he also has ministers. Right? He says, therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness. So he's going to transform himself into the angel of light, and his ministers are going to transform themselves into ministers of righteousness. Okay, so if Hasatan and his ministers, if they pretend to be messengers of light, this means they also have a doctrine. Let me say that again. If Hasatan and his ministers pretend to be messengers of light, this means they also have a doctrine. So the word angel in Hebrew is malak, messenger in Hebrew, malak. So an angel, or should I say the word malak, an angel can be one of the angelic beings. the host of heaven, of the heavens, or it could be a man, the host of earth, right? And we get examples of that in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, the foot and mouth scripture, when we see angels referring to a person. And then when you get to the last chapter, the last verse of Judges, you'll see it says, and there was no Malak, right? There was no king, there was no messenger in Israel. And all the people began to do what was right in their own eyes, right? The priest was intact, the judges were intact. This is the time of the judges, getting ready to transition into the time of the kings. Okay, so if Hasatan and his ministers pretend to be messengers of light, this means they also have a doctrine. And so, what is the doctrine of Hasatan? I'm going to answer that question. It starts with understanding the doctrine of secret societies. Let me say that again. It starts with understanding the doctrines of secret societies. All right. So Satan, again, disguises himself as an angel or messenger of light. And so in Masonry, the light is very important in their doctrine. I'll say that again. The light in Freemasonry is very important in their doctrine, right? And I can speak firsthand because I used to be a Mason. That's why when people say, hey, well, you know, Kanye West, he used to do this, he used to do that, he used to be into the satanic rituals and worship. He he has a Yeezy Bible, all this other stuff. And the fact of the matter is he didn't create that Bible. You have to do the research on that. But anyway, but guess what? If the Most High took me out of Freemasonry, took me out of those fraternities, right, and put me in the place that I am, where I am now today, if he could do it for me, he could do it for anyone else, right? So we have to be careful of, attacking the messenger, especially when we have a past of our own. If the Most High took you out of situations or a past that many of you guys wouldn't even want to put out there in the atmosphere, why can't we believe that he did it for Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, or whoever may be in a position of resources, having a lot of resources? But anyway, this is how I know how to go into this information that I'm going to share with you. All right, so let's go and get into it. Let's keep it going. In Masonry, the light is very important in their doctrine. In Freemasonry, right, you're going to learn about 3 lesser lights. In family, I'm not sure if I did it publicly. If I didn't, I know I did it at our Shabbat not this past Shabbat, far as earlier today, at the conclusion, but last week's Shabbat, I dealt with the lesser lights, right? And so if it's not on the channel, then I'll do a special teaching on the lesser lights. But here it is. It says the 3 lesser lights: the sun, the moon, and the master of the lodge. The master of the lodge is referred to as worshipful master. For those that may not understand the terminology, in Freemasonry, the 3 lesser lights, the sun, the moon, and the master of the lodge, which is referred to as worshipful master. And I will tell you this: if you ever want to debunk someone, anyone that's in Freemasonry, right? Ezekiel chapter 8 completely exposes the Freemasons, right? Because in Ezekiel chapter 8, you'll see Freemasons there, Freemasonry right there. You'll see the speaking against the religion of Islam, even though Islam didn't exist at that time. You know, that religion didn't come into play until like the 5th century, the 6th century. All right. But you'll see all of that inside Ezekiel chapter 8. Okay. So the sun, the moon, and the master of the lodge, right? In other words, the worshipful master. And guess what? What did the Hebrew Israelite Messiah, and the reason why I'm saying the Hebrew Israelite Messiah is for all the naysayers, including many within Judaism, that they have demonized the term Hebrew Israelite. And many are forgetting that, hey, the Messiah was a Hebrew Israelite. A Hebrew Israelite is not a religion. Judaism is a religion, right? Christianity is a religion. When you call yourself a Christian, that's still saying you're a follower of that system. You're part of that system of Christianity, that system of Catholicism. When you call yourself a Jew or Jewish in the modern tense, you're saying that you are practicing Judaism. You have converted over to Judaism. So guess what? Everybody can be Jewish, but not everyone can be Israel. Okay, so what did the Hebrew Israelite Messiah, and I'm making it clear, he was an Hebrew Israelite. He was not a Jew in the sense of what we see today. That word Jew, again, is a construct, just like Christian, for those that have converted, right? Because the early Hebrew Israelite followers of the Messiah, they did not call themselves Christians. They referred to themselves as followers of the way. So what did the Hebrew Israelite Messiah say about calling someone master? Here it is. Matthew chapter 23, verse 8 through 10. It says this: be not ye called rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren, and call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your father, which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. So we have to be careful. Like the Pope, Papa, he should not be wearing that title, and people should not reverence him the way that they do. But even when we talked about the worshipful master, Christ speaks against that. So greatness is measured by service, not by earthly honor, right? Together we are brothers and sisters to one another. One is not above or more exalted than the other. Each stands as an equal before Yahweh and one another. So let's deal with some pillars of Freemasonry, right? Let's see what it says. Let's deal with some pillars. Let me lay out the foundation of Freemasonry. You're going to see its connection, right, to Judaism. Life is Levi and the Kabbalah. Let me say that again. Life is Levi. So that's both names, his first name and last name, those are Hebrew names. And the Kabbalah. It says, right, in his book here, and let me see if I have it on my desk, because I've been trying to clear my desk off. I still have it on my desk because I got books up for days on my desk. Let me just show you guys so that way you could get see what the book actually looks like. Let me pull it up here real quick. So this is the book right here that I'm quoting out of, right? A Life is Levi and the Kabbalah. All right. This is the book. Okay. All right. So let's see what it says about Life is Levi. What is more absurd? Let me say it again. What is more absurd? As a matter of fact, let me stop here for a second. Let me bring this book back up because I want you guys to pay attention to the cover. Let me bring it up one more time so you guys can see the details on it. Look at the bottom of the book. The Masonic and French connection of the American mystery tradition. All right. Let me say that again. The Masonic and French connection of the American mystery tradition. All right. So we see the connection of A Life is Levi, but we're going to see the heavy influence of the Kabbalah there, which is also in fraternities and sororities. I may, if I have a moment, I'll show you just a little bit out of the presentation, and we'll connect the dots. But anyway, so let's continue. So again, what is more absurd and more impious than to attribute the name of Lucifer to the devil, that is, to personified evil, the intellectual Lucifer. Notice what Eliphas Levi refers to Lucifer as. Notice how he's paying homage to him. Notice how he's worshiping him. The intellectual Lucifer is the spirit of intelligence and love. It is the paraclete, in other words, an advocate. It is the Holy Spirit. So he's referring to Lucifer as being the Holy Spirit, where the physical Lucifer is the great angel of universal magnetism. That's the key word, universal. We'll touch on it a little later, but that word universal comes from the word universe. Universe comes from the word uni. So uni, the Capitoline triad, right? Which is referred to as the triple goddess, right? Uni, the Etruscan triple goddess, which is also referred to as the Trinity, their Trinity, right? So uni, and then when you get to verse, so the doctrines of universe, that's where you get the term universal. So universal comes from that, what I just explained, but I'm gonna go even further with that a little later. Okay, so this is another source giving more information about Eliphas Levi. And I want to give a disclaimer here, family. I know I'm showing some sources here, but please don't go out here and purchase these things and start dipping and dabbling, reading this stuff, and you don't even read your scriptures. You don't even pray. You don't fast. Because if you read this stuff, because many people start reading this stuff, purchasing these books, but don't have a prayer life, it can mess you up if you don't have a solid foundation. So I want to make that clear. I want to put that disclaimer out there. Don't go out here purchasing these books that I'm making reference to because of me bringing them up, and you going to start reading this and you don't read the Bible, you don't have a prayer life. Because if you don't pray, if you don't fast, if you don't do any of these things can mess you up. These sources that I'm sharing with you can mess you up. All right. So Wade Baskin's Dictionary of Satanism. Let's see what it says about Eliphas Levi. It says, French magician and author of works on the occult, Eliphas Levi, whose real name is Alphonse Louis Constant, claimed to have summoned up the ghost of Alyponius of Tyana in London in 1854. Born in Paris about 1810, he is said to have been reincarnated as Aleister Crowley. So Aleister Crowley in these satanic circles, right, is viewed as the reincarnation of Eliphas Levi. The learned English occultist said that Levi's doctrine and ritual contained the secrets of an occultic society into which Levi had been initiated and from which he had been expelled. So again, Eliphas Levi, he really pushed the Kabbalah, and we're going to see the Kabbalah all over Freemasonry. So Eliphas Levi created an image that is popular for all the wrong reasons. I'm going to share with you real quick. The name dates back to the Inquisition, and this is coming from BBC News, decoding the symbols on Satan's statue. The names date back to the Inquisition and torture of the Knights Templar about 1100 AD, who, according to French chroniclers of the Crusades, confessing to worshiping a heathen idol called Baphomet. Some scholars believe Baphomet was simply a corruption of Muhammad, in other words, the Prophet Muhammad. But over the years, as the mystery and speculation around the Templars has grown, so too have the interpretations of the word. The best known modern image of the Baphomet was drawn in 1856 by the French occultist Eliphas Levi in his book Transcendental Magic, Its Doctrine and Ritual. He emphasized a winged hermaphrodite with a torch between his horns and a pentagram on his forehead. That's right, family. The Baphomet is a hermaphrodite. Hermes combined with Aphrodite. That's where you get the word hermaphrodite. Hermes and Aphrodite, right? So we see it, and I'm going to show the image here in a second. But it goes on to say Levi's Baphomet was a hermaphrodite with breasts. But notice what they say here, right? Because this is dealing with them standing up a statue, these statues of the Baphomet that's like $1 million statues out in Georgia. They did it in Detroit. They did it in Colorado. They're putting up these statues across the country because that is their freedom of religion. Interesting, right? Freedom of religion, freedom of speech. But the Hebrew Israelites, our people, we are the ones that all the tension comes to when we start making it clear we know who we are. We know our identity. We know our heritage. So Levi's Baphomet was a hermaphrodite with breasts. And notice what it says here. But we took the breasts off, says Greaves. The temple did not want to get embroiled in a debate about gender, which might distract from what it believes are more important. All right. So this is the Baphomet. This is where you see the breasts, right? You'll see this star. You see what is referred to as the Star of David or the hexagram. You also see the horns here, which this still forms that star. If we put a line across here, right? This will look just like the Freemasons, the square and the compass. It'll also remind you of the Eastern Stars. Okay, so one of the first Americans to come under the influence of Eliphas Levi was the noted Masonic writer or Masonic writer Albert Pike. Albert Pike was an understudy of Eliphas Levi. So in his writings called The Morals and Dogma, in that book revealed an entire section Pike took verbatim from the works of Levi. So let's deal with Albert Pike, right? So we dealt with one of the major pillars, which is Eliphas Levi, but let's deal with his understudy, right? The foundations of Judaism. Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, right? And these are some quotes from his book. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious, name to give this to the spirit of darkness, Lucifer, the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light? And with its splendors, intolerable blinds, feeble, sensual, or selfish souls. Doubt it not. So you see how he's paying homage, right? He refers to Lucifer as the son of the morning. That's important, family. And I did this lesson last week showing the difference when you say the son of the morning versus the morning. All right, the morning star. Right. But anyway, let me read that one more time. Lucifer is the light bearer. Remember what we talked about, the warnings that Paul gave to the Corinthians. Hasatan disguises himself as the angel of light. So notice what Albert Pike is saying here. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious, name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning, is it he who bears the light? And with its splendors, intolerable blinds, feeble, sensual, or selfish souls, doubt it not. He goes on to say that which we must say to a crowd is we worship a God. That's important. Not worship, we worship the God. He put here, we worship a God, right? That indefinite article makes a world of a difference. And if we have enough time, if I have it here, I'll show you why that's important and how a religion, a person who founded a particular religion, Christian religion, makes the same quote inside their translation of the Bible, their version of the Bible. But it is the God that one adores with superstition. To you, Sovereign Grand Master Inspector General, we say this that you may repeat it. So they say we believe it, we worship a God. So that way people don't grab hold of it. They think, hey, when they say we worship a God, they thinking that you, in their minds, right? Most people think that they're talking about the Most High. They think that the Most High is, that the people are referring to the Most High. So family, just because somebody say they believe in God, that's a generic term. Doesn't mean that they worship and believe in the Most High of the Bible, of our ancestors, right? They could be referring to some Hindu deity. They could be referring to some other stuff that's out there. So we must say to a crowd, we worship a God. All right. And I see a comment here from Son of Judah. I'll touch on the Shabbat again. I think I did one a while back. I have to go through the notes and see. If, I know I really went in on the Shabbat, giving proper clarity. So it may be on this channel or maybe on my Facebook channel, but I'll make it a note to do that lesson again. So we must say to a crowd, we worship a God. That's important to understand that indefinite article. A God, it adds ambiguity. It makes it into a generic statement. All right. This is a statement based on Gnosticism. Let me say that again. That is a Gnostic statement. So what is Gnosticism? This is what Gnosticism is. A prominent heretical movement of the 2nd century Christian church, partly of pre-Christian origin. Gnostic doctrine taught that the world was created and ruled by a lesser divinity, the demiurge, and that Christ was an emissary of the remote supreme divine being, esoteric knowledge. So in a nutshell, they are teaching that the Messiah is as you see here, lesser divinity, a lesser God, so to speak, demiurge. That's what Gnosticism, that's what Gnostics teach. And when you understand the Council of Nicaea, right, that was the main argument right there, was the divinity of Christ. Arius argued that Christ did not become divine until after his resurrection, right? But the Orthodox Christians, right, this is where we get into Athanasius, right, makes it clear that Christ was always divine, even before the word became flesh to dwell among us. So that's the argument of the Council of Nicaea back in 321, just to give clarity for those that may not be familiar with it. I may do a lesson on the Council of Nicaea, the multiple councils that existed, but that's what Gnosticism is. So you may have people, even in this truth, trying to lessen or minimize the deity of Christ. So Albert Pike goes on to say this, right, in his book, that the Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. He goes on to say the sun represents the actual light. He pours upon the moon his functating rays. Both shed their light upon their offspring. The blazing star, or Horus, and the three form of the great equilateral triangle. Now they're dealing with triple goddess, the Trinity, right? Again, family, the word Trinity is not in the scripture. It's not biblical, right? But many, when you deal with many from within the church, they'll pull out that checklist and they're going to ask you, do you believe in the Trinity? No, I don't believe in the Trinity. I believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, but I don't believe in the Trinity. I don't believe in a triune God or deity because I know where it comes from. No, I believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I believe in our Elohim. Someone will say Elohim, but I don't believe in the Trinity. The word Trinity is not in the scriptures whatsoever. So that's how I respond to that. Like, hey, no, I'm not going to say I believe in the Trinity. No, I believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And if you want me to give you a term, our Elohim, singular but yet plural. But it's not as limited as the church have taught us. But anyway, right? So I want to make that clear because you have some that try to cut this video up. Look, here's Pastor Kelly saying that he don't believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Nope, that's not what I said. I don't believe, and I will not confess to a Trinity. I will not do so, right? Because the word Trinity was introduced. That concept was introduced by Tertullian, right? The disciples wasn't going around saying we believe in the Trinity, because again, from a Hebraic school of thought, Elohim or Elohim. All right. So, family, let me give me something to drink. Let me clear my throat real quick. Let me show a quick video here real quick. But I want to share a little video that may make you guys upset. But here we go.
להתחיל לאסוף את המסתננים, לא צריך לחכות לבג"ץ, לא צריך שום דבר.
אני רואה חרא מחוץ לבית שלי, יריקות, פסיכופטים, אנשים שרק מחפשים איך לרצוח אותי בעיניים שלהם, אבל אף אחד לא מאמין לנו. אנחנו גזענים. אנחנו גזענים כדי לרצות לשמור על החיים שלנו ועל השפיעות שלנו. אז אני גאה בלהיות גזענית. אני גאה בלהיות גזענית. אם אני גזענית בשביל לשמור על החיים שלי, אז אני גאה.
لا تسوى الكوشي هات الكوشي للسوا هات تسوى الكوشي لخي هاتوا تلخي من فوق تلخي هات تسوى الكوشي لخي ما بتفايتم
נחשף ביערות בורקינה פאסו שבט קניבלים נטו נטו. שלום למנהיג השבט קזבובו.
שלום עליכם. אברהם יצחק יעקב, יודע עברית, שולחן, חשבונית, קובי פרץ, מוטלזי, מוטאו.
מר קזבובו, כולנו כאן בישראל מופתעים ונרגשים נוכח האפשרות שתעלו ארצה.
קזבובו שמח, 2000 שנות גלות נגמר, רואים אור בקצה של מנהרה.
אתם בטוחים שאתם יהודים?
התחלנו על חנן. אם הוא שחור הוא לא יהודי?
לא בגלל שהוא שחור, הוא...
מה הוא מה?
קניבל.
ומי אתה שתגיד לו מה לאכול, אה? אם הוא קניבל, הוא לא יהודי?
אולי תבוא, תעשה אצלנו שבת?
זה לא שיש לי משהו אישי נגדכם, אבל הפלשמורה למשל תקועים.
Appreciate you, family. Want to give shout outs to Andrew. Andrew 137 1000. Thank you for the contribution here. Really appreciate the love and support. Thank you again, family. Let's show some love for Andrew. And I just want to show those clips here because many don't understand that many within the Jewish community, as we know them, don't like our people, right? Are racist against our people. Referred the chief rabbi over in Israel referred to us as monkeys. All right. So again, as we see here, this is dealing with Albert Pike. He says the sun represents the actual light. He pours upon the moon his funcdating rays. Now we're dealing with what? The three lesser lights, the sun, the moon, and the worshipful master. But notice he says, he pours upon the moon his funcdating rays, both shed their light upon their offspring, the blazing star or Horus, and the three form the great equilateral triangle. In other words, Trinity. That's what they're saying. In the center of which the omnific letter of the Kabbalah, by which creation is said to have been affected or effected, right? He goes on to say, in the first three Persian Amshapans, Lord of light, fire, and splendor, still dealing with that Trinity, light, fire, splendor. Now we see the elements, the worship of the elements. That's when you start dealing with a lot of this paganism. They do a lot of worship of the elements. We recognize Aor, Zohar, and Zeo, splendor, light, splendor, and brightness of the Kabbalah. Masonry is a search after light. That search leads us directly back, as you see, to the Kabbalah. As you see here, they're really heavily saturated with the Kabbalah, and Albert Pike wrote over 90% of the initiation rites and all with Freemasonry. He also had his hands on the KKK. So Masonry, and this is a quote again, reiterating this point, Masonry is a search after light. Remember the three lesser lights. That search leads us directly back, as you see, to the Kabbalah. Okay? But he goes on to say this. Philo calls it the universal light. Remember, universal, which loses a portion of its purity and splendor in descending from the intellectual to the sensible world, manifesting itself outwardly from the deity, and the Kabbalah represents that only so much of the infinite light flowed into the circular void prepared for creation. Guess what? If you in a Christian church, you are Mason, you're actually following Judaism as well. You're actually dealing with Jewish mysticism, the Kabbalah, contrary to what you believe, contrary to what you think, right? And we see this all up in the church, initiation rites and all. So all truly dogmatic religions have issue from the Kabbalah and return to it. And this is just giving you more information. Everything scientific and grand in the religious dreams of all Illuminati. But then it makes it clear, still highlighting the Kabbalah as well as symbols, right? As a matter of fact, it goes on to say here, all the Masonic associations owe to it their secrets and their symbols to the Kabbalah. All right. Albert Pike says this: if Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, whose deeds prove his cruelty and hatred of man, barbarism and repulsion for science, would Adonai and his priests culminate him? Yes, Lucifer is God, and fortunately, Adonai is also. So, as you see, Albert Pike is really promoting the worship of Lucifer. For the eternal law is that there is no light without shade, no beauty without ugliness, no white without black. For the absolute can only exist as two gods, darkness being necessary to the statue and the brake to the locomotive. Thus, the doctrine of Satanism is a heresy, and the true and pure philosophical religion is the belief in Lucifer, the equal of Adonai. So it look at Lucifer as being the equal. And see, family, this is why you have to be careful, because many will teach indirectly that Satan is an equal opposite of the Most High. That's the furthest thing from the truth, right? No, Satan cannot lay a glove on the Most High. Satan has some power, but the Most High has all power, right? So just want to make that clear. So what do the Masons say about Albert Pike? Just to make sure you guys are clear, right? The source that I'm showing on your screen, right? Let me see if I can pull these books out again. I have them on my desk. All right, got a lot of stuff here, man. Let me pull it out here. And I'll show you let me put it on my screen. All right. One of many books that I have when I was in Freemasonry. Let's see. All right. Now notice this. This is what you see on your screen. Just so that way you guys understand. This is what you see on your screen. All right. A lot to unpack, but I'm not going to do it tonight. Okay. So let's get back into it. All right. So let's see what it says about Albert Pike. His library and extent and selections was a marvel, especially in all that pertains to the wonders in ancient literature. Brother Pike was the sovereign Grand Master Commander of the, or should I say Grand Commander of the Southern Supreme Council, right? And it goes on to tells us of the Scottish Rite had been elected in 1859. He was the provisional Grand Master of the Lodge of the Royal Order of Scotland in the United States and an honorary member of almost every Supreme Council in the world. His standing as a Masonic author and historian, and withal as a poet, was most distinguished, and his untiring zeal was without parallel. All right. So another thing we see here, and this is why we're going to get into the satanic rituals, the satanic worship, is the goat demon, right? Who is the goat in the scriptures? Let's deal with it, because in Freemasonry, you have the term riding the goat, right? I'm not sure if I kept it here, but let's see what the scripture says about the goat. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 7. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, Sha'ayah, right? Let me say it again, Sha'ayar, right? Or some would say Shayar. But anyway, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generation. So let's see the Hebrew definition of this word, right? Notice what it says: shaggy, a he goat. So we're dealing with the goat demon, devil, goat, hairy kid. So we're still dealing with the goat demon. So other translations of this verse, the Message Bible, they must no longer offer their sacrifices to the goat demon, a kind of religious orgy. The NIV, they must no longer offer any of their sacrifices to the goat idols to whom they prostitute themselves. The biblical goat demon. Let's see who's the biblical goat demon. When we go to Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21, this is what it says. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy Elohim. I am Yahweh. Right? So this is the law. This is telling them not to sacrifice their children to this demon, to this goat demon. So the goat demon is Molech, right? This is the Baphomet, the upgrade to it. To your left right here on your screen, this is the goat of Mendez, which also ultimately goes back to the goat demon Malak. When we look at the Babylonians, right? The belly of the beast right here where the Hebrew young men were tossed in. So the Oxford Dictionary, now pay attention to what the Oxford Dictionary says about Molech, right? Very interesting, right? And this is the Oxford Dictionary of the Jewish religion, right? Great book to have on your person. It says here, Semitic deity worshipped in the biblical times, known from Ugaritic and Mesopotamian sources as Malik. It is likely that Molech figured among the Chthonic gods, that is, those associated with death and the underworld. According to, according to biblical tradition, Molech was worshipped by means of child sacrifice, a practice abhorred and strictly forbidden by Israelite belief and law. But notice what it says here. It says in the next sentence, child sacrifice is condemned in the Bible without mention of the god Molech. I just shared it with you, but they're saying that it's not mentioned. It goes on to say the Molech worship are found in Leviticus. Wait a minute, but they said his name is not there. His name is in the scriptures. Sacrificing to Molech is called whoring after him. But let's go ahead and give clarity. Child sacrifice is condemned in the Bible without mentioning of the god Moloch. That's what they say. So no more sacrifices. Zabak. That's the Hebrew word for sacrifice. Zabak. Right? The Hebrew word for altar is zabak. All right. So what does the Jewish Talmud, right? What does the Jewish Talmud, what does this other rabbinical literature, what does it say about Molech or Malak? Sanhedrin 64a, notice what it says. And I'm reading what's here. All right. The Mishnah, he who gives his seed to Molech incurs no punishment unless he delivers it to Molech and causes it to pass through the fire. If he gave it to Molech, but did not cause it to pass through the fire, or the reverse, he incurs no penalty unless he does both. Right? The Gemara, right? The Mishnah teaches idolatry and giving to Molech, right? Rabbi Abin said, our Mishnah is in accordance with the view that Molech worship is not idolatry. Wait a minute, Molech worship is not idolatry, for it has been taught, if one causes his seed to pass through the fire, whether to Molech rather, or to any other idol, he is liable to death. But it goes on to say here, if to Molech, he is liable. If to another idol, he is not liable. He is not liable. Right? So that's interesting, right? Molech worship. Now, let me see if I could bring it up here. I may be able to copy this over real quick. Let me see here. Because I want to share one additional key piece of information. All right. Let me see here. Let me see if I have it here. If I do, I'll copy it over just to make a quick reference to it since we're here. If not, I have to do it at another time. All right, let me show you something here. I'm gonna copy this over. Because I tell you, our people they were off the chain. They were off the chain. All right. I'm going to copy this over real quick so that way you can get an understanding of just the depth of child sacrifice. And Christmas promotes child sacrifice and a number of other things, to name a few. All right, let's go here. I'm just copying this clip here from my other lesson. All right, we just dealt with the Sanhedrin. All right, let me show you something here, and then we'll get back to God, deal with God. All right, let me go ahead and bring this in. All right, got it? Okay, here we go. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18 through 20, just so that way we can see the fullness of child sacrifices inside the scriptures. Verse 18, the children gathered wood and the father kindled the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the queen of heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Verse 19, do they provoke me to anger, saith Yahweh? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Verse 20, therefore, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, right? In the Israeli pronunciation, it'll be Yahweh Elohim. Behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man, upon beast, and upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched. So the children gathered wood. Let me give you clarity. What is the meaning of the children gathering wood? Let's go to this source here. Traditions of Eden, or proofs of the historical truth of the Pentateuch, 1871, page 163. Notice what it says about the Yule. Notice what it says about the child. Notice what it says about the wood. Notice what it says here. A farther confirmation and illustration of these facts is found in the custom of the Christmas Yule log. The word Yule is the Chaldee term for an infant or little child. And hence it was that day, or that Christmas day, was called among the heathens Yule Day, or the child's day. And the night before Christmas, which the night before Christmas was called Mother Night. Christmas Eve, right? It was called Mother Night, right? So now they changed it to Christmas Eve, still dealing with Eve, right? Which is referred to as the mother of life, right? She's the mother, right? So here you see, instead of Christmas Eve, right? Christ dismissed Eve. Oh, y'all better grab hold of that. Mother Night. Okay. So the word Yule is a Chaldee term for infant or little child. Right? So guess what? Christmas is celebrating child sacrifice. Right? Let me say this real quick. There's neither Jew nor Greek. Can somebody explain what that means? Brother, I want to ask you if you just go to the playlist. I have a full teaching on that. But let's not I don't want to get this conversation going into side conversations. But if you go through the playlist, the foundational playlist, I deal with the word. There's a lesson titled "Words of Confusion," and I deal with the word Jew, and I deal with the word Greek. So that's a great question to ask, but I just don't want to get sidetracked with the teaching tonight. So go to there, and also there's a lesson, a video about from Benjamin Friedman that really deals with the word Jew as well. It's like an hour lecture. So look under the lecture section as well, and that'll answer your question. So I hope that helps, but I just don't want to get sidetracked in dealing with this narrative, because that's a whole nother teaching itself. All right. So go to the playlist that says foundational, and you should see words of confusion, and you'll see a lesson that's very in depth about that. And then also look at the lecture, Benjamin Friedman, Facts or Facts. But appreciate your question. All right. So again, family, this is what Christmas is promoting. This is what the church is promoting. When you see that Yule log burning inside on television for 24 hours leading into Christmas, right? Christmas Eve going into Christmas, that Yule log, now you are actually celebrating child sacrifice, passing your child through the fire. As I said, the children go get the wood. The fathers are preparing the flames, while the mother, right, she is hooking up her cooks. I mean, her cookies and or cakes and drink offerings for the Queen of Heaven, right? That's cookies for milk and cookies for Santa. So again, the word Yule is a Chaldee term for infant or little child. Let's continue. Freemasonry, God, right? Freemasonry, God. Notice what it says. God, the initials of Gomer Oz Dabar. It is a singular coincidence and worthy of thought that the letters composing the English name of deity should be the initials of the Hebrew word wisdom, strength, beauty, the three great pillars or metaphorical supports of masonry. They seem to present almost the only reason they can reconcile a mason to use the initial G in its conspicuous suspension in the east of the lodge in place of the delta, the triangle, which represents the female reproductive organ, which is also referred to in Hinduism, the yoni, right? The incident seems to be more than an incident, right? Or accident, rather. So this is giving you more clarity of what that letter G stands for, right? That you see in between that square and compass. It's telling you the acronym God, God, stands for Gomer, right? Gomer, strength, beauty, right? The Hebrew words here are backwards, right? Dabar, right? Azah, Az, or Azah, Gamar, right? So this, like I said, it's spelled backwards. Issue with the presentation, but that's what it's saying. God. So guess what? Freemasonry is teaching, promoting the worship of Gomer. Not just Gomer, but the descendants of Gomer. That's why when you see Paul's prophecy in Thessalonians chapter 2, books fell off my desk. All right. He made a prophecy about the son of perdition. Talked about a group of people that's going to put their image inside the temple, put their image of being the most high inside the temple. So the only reason, as he stated, as is stated inside the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, the only reason that can reconcile a Mason to use the term or use the initial G, Gomer Oz Dabar. So this is to promote the worship of Gomer. Come on, family. That's what God stands for. That's what God stands for. That's what that letter G that's suspended in the square and the compass, it stands for worshiping Gomer and his descendants. Well, there's a key descendant here. Freemasonry promotes the worship of Gomer. Why is this important to know? Here it is. Genesis chapter 10, verse 2. Notice what it says. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and unto them were the sons born after the flood. But I just want to focus here, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. Right? So we see Gomer, son of Noah's son Japheth, right? But then not Japheth, but Gomer had a son, which would be Japheth's grandson. And the sons of Gomer. Notice what we see here. Ashkenaz. All right? So the Hebrew definition of Gomer, not getting into all of that. I don't need to go into all of this, right? But why is this important to know, family? Going back again, I just touched on this. This is a duplicate slide, actually, right? But when we take it a step further, right? By these were the isle of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongues, after their families and their nations. So we see the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, right? Riphath, Togamar, right? And these sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarnish, Kittim, Dodanim, right? By these were the isle, in other words, islands of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families and their nations. In other words, they have their own tradition. But when we did the walkthrough in part one of when we were critiquing and giving our fact checking part one, we dealt with one of their sources that deals with, and I left the book inside the car, that shows that they even tell you that Japheth is going to convert by way of occupying the tents of Shem, the worship place, by way of the religion Judaism. They have it right inside their source. I encourage you guys to watch part one again, and I shared the source there. By these were the isle of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after their tongues, after their families, and their nations. This is heritage. But another thing that many people don't know about Judaism, right? I'm gonna share another surprise with you guys. Easter eggs. Did you know that the acceptance of Easter eggs is in the Talmud? If you guys know that this is in the Talmud, type 1. If you didn't know that this is in the Talmud, type 2, because I'm going to explain to you what it is. Did you know that the Talmud promotes Easter eggs? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no, or just simply type yes if you already knew, type no if you didn't know. All right, so far we see here, Elephant Man, no. And Family, great podcast. Support our brother here. Ural, no. Who else do we have here? Let me just go down the list here because going pretty fast. Jay Highstyle, my buddy. Jay Highstyle in the building. No. Karen, no. Let's see here. The Threat, us, 89, no. Yaz Grace, no. Ernest Higgs, yes. Let's see. Yabu Israel, no. Anieki, no. Yehuda, no. Alexandria, no. Read as many as I can. Black to My Roots, no. Yah Bara, no. Vernal Jackson, yes. Okay, let's see here. Wayne Robinson, yes. Let's see here. I see a few yeses coming in. All right. Gary Wilburn, no. Dawid, no. All right. Melody Thomas, she says she knew. All right. So just wanted to read some of them here. Some of you guys were familiar with it, but let me show you here. Let's see here. Mr. Pirate Brain, I didn't know rabbits didn't lay eggs. All right. So let's get into it. Let me show you here. Just a little additional a bonus information here. Right? The Talmud, Sanhedrin 101a, and the scripture speaks against enchanting, right? And charms and all of that. But notice what it says here. Our rabbis taught it is permitted to consult by a charm the spirit of oil or eggs, but that they give false answers. Incantations are made over oil contained in a vessel, but not in the hand. Therefore, one may anoint with the latter, but not with the former, right? Anoint with the latter, but not with the former, right? Now we're dealing with, again, this is dealing with eggs instead of using oil, vice versa. So in the footnote, notice what it says here. It says, right, it is noteworthy from the present passage that the Talmud had no faith in these charms, but notice what you see in the footnotes here, 18 and 19. This states the practice, not a ruling. 19, footnote 19. Since it may have been used as a charm, right? It's right inside the Talmud. Again, it is permitted to consult by a charm the spirit of oil or eggs, but that they give false answers. So it's allowing you to do it, but it's saying that they won't give you a good answer. That's what they're saying here, right? All right. So what happened here? I think I messed up my. Let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss out something here. Let me make sure my animation is good. Let's put this out the way. And family, that's half of part one because we got a lot more to cover. Right? We're going to get into some DNA stuff here in a second. All right. Let me make sure my animation is good. All right. Yes. That's what it is. My animation off. Let me read the footnotes again. Let me fix these animations because I missed the key here. All right. Let's see here. Let me take this out. Let me try this again. All right. Now this will give you better understanding of the footnote. I should have read it directly from the backdrop here, but let me read it again. All right. I just fixed it here. Let me read it again. All right. Let's go back here. All right. Did I do it right? I did it again. Let me try it again. All right. All right. Let's try this now. All right. This should work. Here we go. There we go. It says here, every plant in the vegetable kingdom was believed to have its own presiding genius, which could be provoked by incantations, right? But then it goes on to say, both eggs and oil were used for purposes of magic and in folk medicine, right? So that's what is leading up to these statements right here. It says, it is noteworthy from the present passage that the Talmud had no faith in these charms, but guess what? It's allowing the usage of it. This states the practice, not a ruling. So it's not ruling saying you not to use them. That is forbidden. It's just giving you clarity, showing that the practice is there. Okay, so let's continue. Let's go to the next phase here. Let's deal with the Hebrews to Negroes for us. Let's deal with the DNA portion. And excuse me for my presentation, my animation is being off a little bit. Got to blame somebody. Got to blame Jay Highstyle for my presentation being off here. All right, so everybody blame Jay Highstyle. Give him a frowny face for my animations being off. All right. So, but let's continue, family, and appreciate the love and support, family. Hit the like and subscribe button, and we're going in, family. But let's answer some simple things about DNA, right? Again, Gomer is the father of Ashkenaz, right? We confirmed that. But I want to also confirm here and make it clear that 90% of the Jewish community today, right? 90% of the Jewish community, they are descendants of Ashkenaz. And we highlighted what it is, who Ashkenaz is. But let's go into it a little bit. Highlight, right? Out of Khazaria, this is an article. Highlight, out of Khazaria, evidence for Jewish genome lacking. And my cousin, Bishop Brown, is about to, I think next week, he's going to have an interview with this geneticist here. He's a Jewish guy, John Hopkins. He got some groundbreaking, some additional information he's going to share. So I'm anticipating that, and we'll also have it live here, or at least after running cycle, we'll upload it here to add it to the collection here. So let's see what he says here, right? Aaron Elhake, right, or Elhake, a geneticist at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, thinks so. And recently published study in genome biology, he is calling for a rewrite of, in a nutshell, of commonly held assumptions about Jewish ancestry. And family, if you talk to a Harry Rosenberg and some of these guys, they'll try to say this guy was debunked. He wasn't debunked, family. That's why I say it's plenty of sources that will expose what he's highlighting here. He is calling for a rewrite of commonly held assumptions about Jewish ancestries. Unfortunately, He cannot be considered anti-Semitic. I am because of me reading this article, me making reference to him, right? Because now this is dealing with what they would call conspiracies, right? Remember when I went through and walked you guys through the anti-Semitic legal terms, right? But notice what he says here. Instead of primarily the descendant of the 12 tribes of Israel, present day Jewish populations are, he didn't say maybe, he says are, finds Elhake, primarily the children of a Turkish people who lived in what is now Russia, north of Georgia, east of Ukraine. This civilization, the Khazars, converted from tribal religions to Judaism between the 7th and the 9th century, right? And in that book that I highlighted, let me see if I could go to it. I didn't have a chance to add it into my presentation, right? Because it gives a lot of information about the Ashkenazi community, right? And that's why the book is titled The Origins or the Origin of Ashkenazi Jewry. I didn't write this book. Jitz Van Straten wrote this book, who is a Jew from the Jewish community. And so again, it gives so many sources. It really exposes the formulas, the different testing that they put out there. Cohen Hamadishi, right? And I'm gonna get some of that. I'm gonna try to put together a clip here so you can hear out of his own words how they were adjusting the testing to try to take their numbers down, but their numbers kept going up in reverse. All right. So this book right here, The Origin of Jewry, I encourage you guys, get this book. We're going to highlight a few things from here, but in this book will give you every formula and it's going to be debunked. Every formula is going to be debunked inside here. Right? And we're going to touch on 3 of them. All right? So, let's knock down some information here. Let's knock down some of the things that people are not aware of. All right. And I want to show some love here for Gems from Kwame Brown's live stream. Really appreciate the love and support, and family. Support the channel. Support the channel. It's a great channel. A lot of information. Well put together. The contents is really good content. So I encourage you guys, subscribe to the channel. All right. So let's go ahead and highlight a few things here. All right. Let's highlight a few things here. Right. Starting with DNA ties Ashkenazi Jews to group of just 330 people from the Middle Ages. Now, this is important. Title is that title is everything. It says 330 people from the Middle Ages, not the antiquities. See, when most of us think about the Middle Ages, we think of antiquity. Middle Ages, this is like the period between the 5th to up until like the 11th to 12th century, or some will go as far as the 15th century. But that is not the antiquities. DNA ties Ashkenazi Jews to a group of just 330 people, not families, 330 people from the Middle Ages. But notice what it says here. So says a new study in the journal Nature Communications. An international team of scientists sequenced the complete genomes of 128 healthy Ashkenazi Jews and compared each of those sequences with the others, as well as with the DNA of 26 Flemish people from Belgium. All right, so this is giving you clarity on this experiment, or should I say this test. Okay, so, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, because one of the things that got slammed about Ron's book is because he's using DNA. Right now, I can speak firsthand. Years ago, me and my cousin Bishop Brown, from some of those that are inside the church apologists, they said that, hey, you say you the people of the book, prove it with DNA. But we did not 1, not 2, not 3. It sounded like LeBron James, right? When he went to Miami. But we did at least 4 tests. And each test pointed us to Israel. Each test. We did 23andMe. We did Ancestry. We did DNA Tribes. We did GEDmatch. And even now, my true ancestry, E1B1A. But it points to Northeast Africa. But again, now from there, they say, hey, it's not good enough. And what I mean by not good enough, they say, hey, you can't trust the DNA. And family, remember, we shared how the Igbos just got confirmed by the Obadiah Alliance. And guess what, family? At least one out of every four of us in this country came from the Igbo tribe. That's a fact. That's why on my 23andMe, it says Igbo. Now, when I do my Jet match, it has Limba at the forefront. And then when I do my what you call it, my true ancestry, it has Limba at the top, right? DNA tribes, it had Limba, but it also had Yoruba, and it had Igbo in there, right? It was a 28-page detailed report I still have, but made it clear, even though it says Jewish, but still it made it clear that I'm descendant of Israel. Right? But that is made into the talking points of the ADL, the Southern Poverty, to try to make it as if something is wrong with us when we say, hey, we're the people of the book. So that's why I don't wait. Man, I'm not here trying to prove anything to anyone. I know what my DNA says, and I know what yours says. But let's not get caught up with some of this stuff, the rounds that this guy, Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, is making, to saying that he connects all the way to King David. Wait a minute, Haile Selassie connects all the way back to King David. So you saying that you are cousins of Haile Selassie? Anyway, look totally different than Haile Selassie, that's for sure. Okay, but it says here, an international team of scientists sequenced the complete genomes of 128 healthy Ashkenazi Jews and compared each of those sequences with the others, as well with DNA of 26 Flemish people from Belgium. Their analysis allowed them to trace the genetic roots of this population to a founding group in the Middle Ages. Ashkenaz in Hebrew refers to Germany. So when you see the word Germany, when you see the word Ashkenaz, that's Germany. When you see Ashkenazi, that's German. So the word German, Ashkenaz, and when somebody say, hey, I'm German, versus someone says that they're Ashkenazi, guess what? It's the same. It's no different. It's the same people. Their DNA is going to be exactly the same. So Ashkenaz Ashkenaz in Hebrew refers to Germany, and Ashkenazi Jews are those who originated in Eastern Europe. So remember this article, family. I'm going to drop it in the timeline again. I'm going to drop it in the chat. And family, please go back and review these sources. I'm not just showing these sources just to brag and say, hey, I got plenty of sources. No, this is not for me. This is so that way you guys can have this. So when you're in a conversation, you're able to articulate exactly what I'm presenting to you. This is coming from a Jewish publication, right? I'm going a little geek mode here. This is coming from a Jewish publication. See, if I had the opportunity, which I can, not saying if I had, I can if I choose to, but I don't want to, right? Been there, done that. But this is something that I would present to Harry Rosenberg. Explain this Jewish publication and what it says about Ashkenazi Jews. Let's see what it says, family. Let's see what it says. Let's go to the source, right? And I'm just going to start right here. I'm not going to read the entire source because it's a lot, but notice what it says. This is addressing the Jewish community, right? The younger generation. They are using 23andMe to determine if they are a race, right? If to tell us if Jews are a race, but the race that they're referring to is the white race, Caucasians. So notice what it says here: Ashkenazi Jews often find themselves in a particular situation of being 90% Ashkenazi, in other words, German, and 99% European. So this is telling you that they are 99% European. So that difference between 9% could be other places like the Ukraine, Hungarian. Those are some of the popular ones that you see connected. Romania, Russia, Poland, right? So those are some of the other communities there. And then that book that I held up, that I encourage you guys to purchase, The Origin of Ashkenazi Jewry, it really goes into the details in that book. So I want to say this, family. I know that book is pricey, but it's worth it. Sometimes you get what you pay for. This book right here, I'm telling you, every person that tried to ask me questions, rabbis and all, they could not handle the information in this book. And I know Harry Rosenberg would not be able to handle the information in that book. But anyway, again, 99% European. But then we see here Sephardic Jews may be told they are mostly Middle Eastern and North African, and less than 10% Ashkenazic. It goes on to say, and this is Stuart Schaufman, who is being interviewed here. I'm not going to say his name here, but it says here, he said he bought a kit, 23andMe, because even though his family insists they're exclusively Jewish, he thought there was a possibility that he had some non-Jewish ancestry. He said, I was curious because you never know, says Schaufman. Family stories are just stories. Schaufman, who learned that he is 99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish, which means that basically he's 100% European, said the test hasn't made much of a difference on his sense of Jewish identity. Judaism really informed who I am and my values and my worldview, Schaufman says. 23andMe hasn't made me more or less Jewy at all. I'm just Jewy. However, Schaufman added, he's Jewy and white. Now he's dealing with the best of both worlds, right? Because if you understand this in this truest tense, the Ashkenazi Jewish community can say that they're white because according to this legal system, they are white. But then they can use that label anti-Semitic. And Semitic, the whole group, Shemitic or Semitic, but I like to say Shemitic, right? The proper term. And you'll see that in the condensed Oxford Dictionary, the compact Oxford Dictionary. You'll see Shemitic there. But anyway, right? They get the best of both worlds because Semitic is a subgroup of Afro-Asiatics. So they get to say that they're white, part of the white race, but at the same time that they could say that they're part of our community, the black race per se, because Afro-Asiatic is identified with the black race according to the institution of race. However, Schaufman added he's Jewy and white, so he get the best of both worlds. He says Sephardic Jews, Ethiopian Jews can't claim that distinction. He's an ethnic minority, but a white one nonetheless. Notice what he says here. I get all the benefits of white privilege. Let me say that one more time, family, so that way this makes sense to you. He's saying in this article, he says, I get all the benefits of white privilege.
What?
All right. So let's go to validate the article that I shared earlier, right? DNA, Middle Ages, right? Let's validate this here, right? This is a duplicate slide, but let's go here. I'm going to take you to the actual source, the nation on Nature Communication. This is a publication from 2014, right? It was accepted on the 28th of July, but it was actually published in September 2014. This confirms, can't get away from this. Ashkenazi Jewish, in other words, the acronym AJ population, is a genetic isolate close to European and Middle Eastern groups with genetic diversity patterns conducive to disease mapping. Here we report high-depth sequencing of 128 complete genomes of the Ashkenazi Jewish controls, right? Compared with European samples, our Ashkenazi Jewish panel has 40% more novel variants per genome and is eightfold more effective at filtering benign variants out of AJ clinical genomes. Our panel improves imputations for Ashkenazi Jewish SNPs arrays by 28% and covers at least one haplotype, 67% of any Ashkenazi Jews genome, along with identical bidescent segment. Reconstruction of recent Ashkenazi Jewish history from such segments confirms a recent bottleneck of 350 individuals. Now, the article said 330, but this says 350 individuals from the Middle Ages in that Germanic area, family. That's what this is saying here. You can't get around it. This is confirmed, not pointing them back to ancient Israel. They're pointing them to that whole region. So how is Harry Rosenberg able to point his lineage all the way back to King David, his bloodline all the way back to King David, as he stated? Haile Selassie was able to point his all the way back through Solomon, right? Because we already know Solomon with Queen of Sheba. We know that he's proven his identity. But Harry Rosenberg can take his all the way back there. Come on, family. Come on, family. We're going to have to give it a 3-piece. We are going to have to give it a 3-piece. I have to get that 3-piece order to go. So now let's look at Khazaria.com, right? And I have another article, I didn't put it in here, about how many from within the Jewish community began to, they actually sued 23andMe because many of them was expecting that their DNA was going to tie them right into Northeast Africa, but it actually tied them into Europe, right? So, it was a whole legal thing about that. I have it in another presentation. But Khazaria.com, E and J haplogroups, right? Notice what it says here, right? This is the website, right? Matter of fact, let me see if I could drop this in, and you could see this here from their website. Let me see here. All right, let me see if I can put it in here real quick. All right, hope this helps you guys. Let me bring this to the front. And I'm going to drop this link in here. The Nature communication, I couldn't put it in it because the link is too long, and I'm limited with the characters, so that's why I didn't put it here. All right, there you have it right there. So you can confirm this source that I have on your screen. All right. So it deals with the haplogroups, right? And this is Khazaria.com. Notice the name of it, Khazaria.com, genetics. And we're dealing with Norwegians, right? So, but it's giving you, for example, Norwegian project, the most common Y-DNA paternal haplogroups. You see I, R, R1, I1, R1A, R1B, and N. But it goes on to say this, right? R1B, common in West Europe. I'm pretty confident that this is what you're going to see in the Ashkenazi Jews. Some of these here. These popular haplogroups, Y mutations. I'm pretty confident you're going to see these here, right? But when you go further down this list here, and it's down at the bottom here, what I'm highlighting, it goes on to say here, less common haplogroups that members have include, now this saying among the Norwegians and those groups, the Khazarians, you won't see them with E1, the E, because it says E and J haplogroups have Middle Eastern origins, but you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that. According to this article, it says less common haplogroups that members have include, among others, E1B1, A1B, right? G2A, 3B, 1A, 2A, right? And then it gives you the I2B1A, and then it gives you the J1, and it gives you, again, clarity here. It says E and J haplogroups have Middle Eastern origin, while Q may originate in Central Asia and Siberia. All right. So that's from that source, but I'm not going to stop here. Right. I'm going to answer this question here. It's pretty simple and straightforward to answer. Let me show you these images again. And I know you guys probably have this question, and I'm going to answer it here. I know I'm going geek mode here. How can they all be Jews and yet they are completely different? How can they, have no type of relations whatsoever? Well, I'm going to explain it to you here, family. Remember that book I told you guys to get? Remember this book? Remember this book right here? Remember this book right here? I want you to pay attention to this book right here. Right? E1B1A, right? E1B1B tends to point to the Egyptians, but E1B1A, right? But nevertheless, Northeast Africa, not Middle East, Northeast Africa. Okay. So let's go to this book here, The Origin of Ashkenazi Jewry. Let's see what it says. A large part of the study was devoted to the determination of genetic distances between the different populations. And now this is what they tried to come up with a explanation on why you see the different extremes. It appears that different groups don't relate to each other. You have Asian Jews that look one way. You have, let's just say, the Ethiopian Jews look another way. You have let's just say German Jews, or Hungary or whatever. You see these different, they all look different, right? Why do they look different? Well, this is going to answer that question. A large part of this study was devoted to the determination of genetic distances between the different populations. Through this method, genetic markers from different Jewish populations are compared. The smaller the relationship, the more differences in DNA may have arisen. Such differences are called distances. Right. And it goes on to say 75 Caucasian, in other words, white population, based on 9 markers. The genetic distances or distance analysis show that European or East European Jews were closest to the inhabitants of Thrace, the region shared by Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey. Bulgarian Jews came next, followed by 36 non-Flemish Jewish populations, right? Jewish populations. And only then, the second Jewish population, the Iranian Jews, other results showed a large Italian component in the gene pool. In other words, total variety of genes in a population. And the East European Jews, from all these results, it appears genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. Let me say that again, family. I got to say that again. This is giving you the conclusion. This is coming from that book, family. It says here, genetically, right? This is not Ron Dalton making this up. This is not me making this up. This is coming from Jitz Van Straten, The Origin of Ashkenazi Jewry, right? So genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. What? Genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. What? Let me say it slow motion for some of you guys that may not grab hold of this. Genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in come on. For the people at the back. So it says genetically. That's why you see the differences here. That's why you see the differences here, family. That's why you see the differences here. Genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. Often, they appear to be more related to the population in the midst of which they live when its genetic materials was available. So it said they look like the people that's around them. So why is that? Why? Because we're dealing with the word converts. But I'm not going to stop there. Again, genetically, the different Jewish communities do not have much in common. Often they appear to be more related to the population in the midst of which they lived. So how can they all be Jews and yet they are completely different? The answer is because they are Jewish through conversion. What is a Jew? The law returned. Here's the definition. This is coming from Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is the law returned, right of Aliyah, right? 5710, 1950. This is that law, right? This is what I'm going to read right here. Here it is. For the purposes of this law, Jew means a person who was born of a Jewish mother or has become converted to Judaism and who is not a member of another religion. So you're a convert. That's all it is. That's why I say any Israelite can be Jewish. Any one of the tribes can be Jewish. But guess what? Not everyone that says that they're Jewish can be Israel, blood descendant of Israel. And we're going to deal with Esther because many take Esther out of context to suggest that many became bloodline Israel when they requested to practice the Torah. That's not correct, family. There's always been a distinction made between converts, who would be also referred to as citizens, and bloodline Israelites. They were always referred to as sons of strangers, daughters of strangers. But we'll deal with that not right now. So again, for the purpose of this law, Jew means a person who has been born of a Jewish mother or has become converted to Judaism and who is not a member of another religion. So again, what is a Jew? Let's go back in here. Here's another formula. Here is another formula. Here it is. The origin of Ashkenazi Jewry. Random genetic drifts. Notice what this is, what the random drift that they came up with. Now pay attention to this. This may be a little confusing, but for some of you, but I'm gonna read it slowly so that way you guys can understand what random genetic drift is. The explanation without foreign genes is based on the assumption that originally there was one Jewish population from which small groups voluntarily or forcibly left for other countries. The original population had a specific gene pool, and the genetic differences between the different groups of Jews must have come about during the 2,000 years of dispersion through a genetic mechanism that is often called random genetic drift. All right. Now, this is how it works. This is how the mechanism works. It works as follows. A few individuals within the parental population possess gene A. All right. So a few possess gene A. A few people from the total population go to another country, and after a certain time, it appears that their descendants possess gene A. Since no other genes entered the population from outside, gene A must have accidentally, in other words, been present in those few people. So it's saying, wait a minute. So let me explain this again. Few individuals within the parental population possess gene A, right? A few people from the total population go to another country after a certain time. It appears that their descendants possess gene A. Since no other genes entered the population from outside, gene A must have accidentally been present in those few people. Next, the gene spread among the descendants of that little group until it became fixed. So it floated until it became fixed. Anyway, which means that every member of the population possessed the gene. So the question now to be asked is, how long does it take before a gene becomes fixed? Because now it's floating, it's random. But how long does it become permanent? The most important factor for this is for this to happen is the size of the original population, the few people that left the country. So here's the formula, right? Times, in other words, in years. So time equals 4 times the initial number X, the duration of one generation in years. So let's put it to test. So in other words, if the small group consists of, say, 50 people, and if we take the duration of a generation to be 25 years, so that means 4 times 50, right, to 50 people times 25 years. So that equals 5,000 years before everybody carries that supposed random gene. Since the Jews were carried, right, supposedly, this is what they'll tell you, right? The Ashkenazi Jews, they'll tell you that their heritage, they were carried off in 70 AD, right? What does this mean? It's clear that there has not been enough time for this mechanism to operate. Because guess what? 5,000 years. So if they're saying that they were carried off in 70 AD, they still got 3,000 years before that supposed random gene become fixed. That's what it's saying. It becomes permanent. So it's clear that there has not been enough time for this mechanism to operate. So guess what? They couldn't use this. This didn't work. It worked for a little bit for us, this explanation, trying to come up with ways of solidifying them to the ancient people, but it didn't work. But I got another thing I'm going to share with you. I want y'all to think about this. The more heritage is made universal, in other words, Catholic, or generalized, so will the increase of creating blanks and filling them with constructs and descriptors that contradict it. So, family, we got to understand what this stuff means for ourselves. So, remember, Catholic, in other words, of the doctrines of the ancient church, which means universally accepted. Remember, Catholic means universal. Universal comes from the Etruscans triple goddess, right? The Etruscan triple goddess, which the name is Uni. Uni is a Etruscan god or goddess, triple goddess. This is where you get the term Trinity from, right? Triune, uni, right? Uni, universe. Universe means the doctrines of uni, right? So universal, general. So Catholic means universal, it means general, right? General, this is where you also tie it into generic, right? But when we go into Genesis, notice what Genesis says. Now, like, let me go back. I went a little fast. So Catholic means universal. It means general, right? Did I have a word up here? Let me go back here. No, I don't. All right. Just want to make sure. So the etymology of Genesis, right? You'll see that it says, tells among things of the creation of the world, generation, nativity, origin to be born. Generic, right? The word Genesis and generic, they both come from this word gene, which means race, birth, descendant, beget. So Genesis, gene, or general comes from the word gene, right? Generic comes from the word gene. General comes from the word gene. And again, Genesis comes from the word gene. So generic, this is what generic would tell us. It'll point us right to what? The word gene, like I just pointed to. But it means what? Belonging to a large group of objects, race, kind. Gene, which means give birth, beget. So when you deal with universalism from the Catholic Church, they're making it clear, just the term Catholic, that means that they're pushing their seed. It's all about their descendants. Anyway, I hope I didn't go too geek mode on you guys with that. So generic Catholic, general Catholic. But when somebody tell you that, guess what? DNA or identity doesn't matter, then they need to throw out the whole, they're throwing out the whole book of Genesis, because Genesis is all about bloodline. Genesis 10, all about bloodline. Matthew chapter 1, all about bloodline. Luke, all about bloodline, all through the scriptures. If you say that, don't worry about Genesis, don't worry about your identity, don't worry about what your DNA and all that other stuff, then you're saying don't worry about pretty much the whole holy text. But I want to deal with this here, another formula we can deal with, the final formula. I got more I can deal with, but we're going to keep it simple. The Hebrew definition of priest, right? We're going to deal with the Kohen, right? Or Kohanim, right? But this is the ancient pronunciation. Kahan, we're going to deal with them real quick. This word means to meditate in religious service. I don't like the word religion because this takes it into a whole nother area, right? To officiate as a priest. That's what I like, to officiate as a priest. Do the office of a priest. Execute the instructions, the law, statutes, and commandments the Most High has presented. Minister in the what? Temple, the priest office. All right. So I don't like that first entry, to meditate in religious services. I don't like that. Right. That's just me personally. So let's go ahead and deal with this right here. I know you guys probably want to know, how do they determine the Levitical priest? Through DNA. How can you tell the Levitical priest from the rest of the Israelites? How? Especially when you understand why mutations, what it means, how the haplogroups are put together, right? So let's go into the source, the origin of Ashkenazi Jews, Jewish priests, Kohanim. Let's see what it says. This is going to highlight three key criticisms of this testing, right? So the population studied are defined wrongly. Let me say that again. The population studied are defined wrongly. The term Sephardic Jews being used for North African Jews. So this is making it clear when you say, when you hear many of them refer to themselves as Ashkenazi Jews, guess what? Sephardic Jews is the same thing. It's not based off of any scientific equations. Sephardic, that's what it's saying here. The population study are defined wrongly. The term Sephardic Jews being used for North African Jews. Sephardic Jews are Jews whose ancestors were expelled from Spain in 1492. Zussman Diskin suspects that the author used the term Sephardic as it is used in Israel by religious politicians, a terminology that has nothing to do with science. Let me say that again. A terminology that has nothing to do with science, just like when you deal with the word Ashkenaz, it's dealing with converts, right? So Skorecki, right, et al. Used the chi-square test to differentiate between laymen and Kohanim. So it's saying that they created a test to determine who's the Levitical priest. I'm gonna give you a simple layman term on what they say it is. And the key in this book identifies that none of us were included in the test. When he put together all these formulas, it wasn't to confirm who the ancient people are. It was to confirm a specific group of people, to kind of make tests to validate a certain group of people. And it's not us, apparently. So notice what it says here. As North African Jews are an aggregate population, in other words, composed of genetically different populations, right? Notice what this says here. It says Bani, Tamir, Ashbel, and Bar Shanai. It says in 1978 showed that Jews differs significantly genetically, just what I just pointed out when we dealt with the genetic differences. So they differ significantly from Libyan to Tussanian Jews. Conclusions from the chi-square test are not justified. The proposal to consider the Kohen module haplotype as characteristic for the Old Hebrew population is not supported by data from other populations. The haplotype is the most common among Iraqi Kurds, Southern and Central Italians, and Hungarians. But then it says, in addition, it also occurs among the Limbas, right? And what Kohen Hamadishi said, and I'm going to put the clip here next time we come together, he said when they did the test on them, right? Normally this test is 1.2 at the most with the Ashkenazi Jews. But when they did this test on them, 200 people from within the Limba community, the Bantu Limbas, their test initially started out at like 24%, 25%. So then they did the test over again. Came back, the test went from, instead of decreasing, it increased to over 40%, like 44, 45%. Then they did the test a third time, trying to make adjustments. Then they came back, and instead of dropping, it increased to over 70%. And then they tested them a fourth time and did not give them their results. So every time they tried to manipulate the test, instead of the numbers going down, it increased. So the Limbas threw a monkey wrench in this testing. Man, the Most High have a great sense of humor. So this may look strange because the composition of the haplotype is based on a unique event. For example, a mutation. So when you start understanding the Y chromosome, it's dealing with mutations. When you start dealing with haplogroups, it's how that Y chromosome mutated. So, however, it is not known when this unique event took place. When this was very long ago, this haplotype cannot be used for determining relations between groups that only arose during the last 2,000 years. Wait a minute. They're saying that you cannot try to take DNA from an ancient group, that Y chromosome is one way, and then you try to make it into a people that came into play the last 200 years. So that's why when you see in the Jewish almanac, it says that it's incorrect to call a Jew an Israelite and vice versa. Or it says an Israelite or a Hebrew and vice versa, because it says in page 3 that they may not have been Jews. Why? Because you're trying to compare a modern people that, as we share with Nature Communication, LA Times, also stating that they pinpointed the origins of the Ashkenazi Jews to 330 people in the LA Times article, and the Nature Communication, 350 people, 3 individuals in the Germanic area in Europe, not to Northeast Africa. Come on, family. I'm showing you sources here. So here's the conclusion. This is the conclusion about the Jewish priests. Man, this is powerful. This study of the Jewish priests contains an inconsistency. We see the following: Jacob and 12 sons, who of course all had the same Y chromosome. Let me tell you it again, family. Jacob and his sons would have the same Y chromosome. You can't get around it. They would have the same Y chromosome. The sons will have the same Y chromosome of their father. They will have the same mutations of the father. One of these sons, we have the following descent: Levi, right? Kohath, Amram, Moses, and Aaron. Both Moses and Aaron, forefathers of the priest, right? Forefathers of the priest, therefore, had the same Y chromosome as Jacob, and thus the same as the remaining sons of Jacob and their male progeny. So this is telling us that Moses and Aaron had the same Y chromosome. Jacob would have had the same Y chromosome, right? Because that's their father, right? And the rest of the other tribes that are descendants of Jacob would have the same Y chromosome, right? So why then today's priests have a different and the same Y chromosome from all the other Jews, unless laymen are to a large extent descendants of converts? Oh my goodness, man. I gotta give a 3-piece right here. Let me give a 3-piece. Let me read this one more time. It says, when then would today's priests have a different and the same Y chromosome from all other Jews, unless laymen are to a large extent descendants of converts? Oh my goodness. Come on, family. Come on, family. That's the truth, Ruth. Come on, family. This is why there's a major push for the Limbas, right? To say that they're not Limbas, to say that they're not Judah or the Levites, for them to say that they are Jews, the Bantus, as far as the Bantu Igbos, this is a push for them to denounce their culture, their heritage of following Torah, but they want them to denounce that so that way they can convert to a religion, Judaism. So that way they can take on the term Jew or Jewish by way of what? Conversion. That's what they want them to do. They want them to convert. They want them to deny their heritage. And matter of fact, I think I still have some of the clips up here, and it may make you upset when I play it. Let me play it here real quick, and then we'll get back to the conclusions here because they're giving some powerful conclusions, right? Actually, I think I covered it, but here we go. Let's play it one more time here, family. Let's play it one more time. Let me show these videos. Let me see here. And family, don't get upset, but this is the playbook, though. This is the playbook when it comes to dealing with our people. Now, notice here, listen to Rabbi Shapira closely, right? Listen to him closely of how he wants to reduce the Igbos, who was confirmed by the Obadiah Alliance to be blood descendants of Israel. He wants to reduce them to just being the tribe of Dan, or not Dan, but Gad. Listen closely, family. Then I'll play a question that he asked them. Here we go.
You are saying that the Igbo people have lost their identity
contact with their God, with their maker, with their origin.
Okay. How do we know? We were this week, Abraham, we were in the place called Ibugad, the place, the palace of God. Yes. We saw some things there. How do we know? If you are to tell me succinctly, how do we know? Do you believe that you are ancestors from the tribe of God? Do you believe that you are ancestors from the tribe of God? Do you believe that you are ancestors from the tribe of God? Do you believe that you are ancestors from the tribe of God?
Of course, we believe that we are ancestors of the tribe of God. Let me make it more clearer. Just like you rightly said before, that even after the dispersion of the children of Israel, that the 10 tribes, that there were other tribes that deflated to Judah. There were other tribes that deflated to Judah. There were other tribes that deflated to Judah.
That's right.
And that is to say,
a portion
is a mixture of other tribes.
That's right.
Good. Now, when you come to this very part of the world where the Igbos exist, yes, we are called the tribe of God because the first person to enter here among all the tribes is God himself. But we have other tribes scattered all over the place. We have the tribe of Judah, we have so many tribes of Dan and Levi in this very place.
Right.
We have other tribes scattered all over the place. We have the tribe of Judah, we have so many tribes of Dan and Levi in this very place.
Right.
We have other tribes scattered all over the place. We have the tribe of Judah, we have so many tribes of Dan and Levi in this very place.
Right.
But we have other tribes scattered all over the place. We have the tribe of Judah, we have so many tribes of Dan and Levi in this very place.
Right.
Now, so, but all put together, like we have already said most of the time, that inside every Jew is the 12 tribe.
Absolutely.
So we are made up of all the tribe of Israel here in Nigeria. Made up of all the tribe of Israel here in Nigeria. But we have other tribes scattered all over the place. We have the tribe of Judah, we have so many tribes of Dan and Levi in this very place.
Right. So before you kind of lost your tradition, because all the tradition I hear, it's like, I said, this is Jewish,
yes,
with a twist.
Yes.
Not exactly, but maybe 90%.
Yes.
You know, but now you're assimilated with Christianity to make things worse.
Yes.
And that's really impacted the
but
community.
Negatively.
So I want to ask you a question. I mean, not to be controversial, because I see you have pages and pages of those traditions. Yes. And I hope you will make more videos for us, systematically walking us through those things. but I think it's overwhelming. We cannot say that the Igbo people do not have a connection to Israel.
Not at all.
We cannot say it. Can we say that they're exactly the tribe of God? Maybe. There is strong connection to the tribe of God here.
Yes.
We know that. I was with you, and you showed me the statue of the man with the knife and the sword.
Yes.
And the word God exactly mean that. The
Yes.
people of the knife and the
yes.
sword. You know, in a way, you're doing things in the ancient customs of our people.
Because we're Asian people.
Yeah.
We're Asian people.
Yes, yes.
That's a fact to show you that we're more ancient than even the what do you call it, the 1948 establishment of the state of Israel.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right, so you see, family, if you listen closely, right, he made it clear that they're more ancient, right, than the 1948 people, right? Made it clear. The rabbi kept trying to reduce them to just the tribe of Gad, right? But he made it clear that they beyond that, right? Beyond that. He said that we consist of multiple tribes, but he kept trying to reduce them to the tribe of Gad. And I'm not saying that there's any problems with being Gad. I want to make that clear. But they had to reiterate to him that, no, we more than just the tribe of Gad. We consist of all the tribes. And family, special shout out to Go Black to Africa. Peace and blessings, family. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And so, family, I'm about to get show another clip here. We're almost done here. I'm going to show 2 more clips. Then I'll drop the link inside the comment section. And Go Black, if you want to jump on, feel free to do so for any one of you guys that want to jump in. All right. So let me show you the insulting question that this rabbi asked them. Right now, he's trying to tell them, because they were in Christianity. Well, we don't know if you can be considered Jewish because you did get into Christianity. Send us more videos so that way we can confirm you. Come on, family. Come on, family. So we have the original being judged by those that converted over. This is like going back in the day, right? I grew up in the pop locking, I used to pop and all that other stuff, break dance and all that. But this is like basically watching, what's that? So You Think You Could Dance. Man, I tried to watch one show and my stomach churned, because then you had the guy, one of the white guy that put it all together. Here it is. He's judging a brother man about his popping and his popping techniques. And he said to him, he critiqued him and said, you should have popped where you should have locked, and you should have locked where you should have popped. I'm like, wait a minute. We created it. Who you trying to tell me I'm wrong about something that we created? That's exactly what you see happening here. Now, they have to prove to him that they are the people of the book by converting to Judaism. They're trying to push religion, Judaism. The Limbers rejected Judaism. They don't want to practice Judaism. So let me play 2 more clips, right? And then we'll drop the link inside the comment section. Actually, I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section. Anyone that want to jump on, feel free to do so. And we'll have a brief discussion as we wrap this up. Let me drop it in right now. This is the invitation. But let's go ahead and play these 2 clips. And here we go. Let me bring it up. And this is going to really be insulting. Here it is.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israelite, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? That is the question I have for you.
Thank you. I'll answer that question.
Go ahead.
I will help you. After the demise of Solomon, we now have the northern and southern kingdom of Israel.
Yes.
So when we talk about Jews, Jews are Israelites, but all Israelites are not Jews. The 10 tribes that got lost are not Jews. They were Israelites. Jews are Israelites, but all Israelites are not Jews. The 10 tribes that got lost are not Jews. They were Israelites. Jews are Israelites, but all Israelites are not Jews. The 10 tribes that got lost are not Jews. They were Israelites. So when we talk about Jews, Jews are Israelites, but all Israelites are not Jews. The 10 tribes that got lost are not Jews. They were Israelites.
Well, it's depending.
So minority cannot swallow the majority. We are here. We are the majority down here. So you are minority, and we are older than you.
Come on, Elder. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I saw the interview, man, because I got it posted here, guys. You guys know I uploaded it about a year ago and uploaded another video. I have a few of his videos here. I ain't gonna lie to you, family. I was getting upset. I was like, come on, elders. Give some pushback on what he's saying. And when they said that right there, I was like, thank you. It saved the interview. It saved the conversation. Because that rabbi was pushing conversion. He said, do you want to give up being the ancient people, ancient Israelites, and convert over to being a Jew? Literally makes it clear what being a Jew is, what it means to being Jewish. No matter how many times many of us try to say, hey, no, the Jew means it's Judah. No. That word Jew started its conception in the 4th century, not in ancient Hebrew, right? In Old English and also French, but it went through the Germanic. It's from the Germanic tree of languages, right? So the word Jew, right, did not, it's not in the true tense of where it is right now. It has nothing to do with Judah, because now it's being used synonymously with Israel. That's why I call it the word of confusion. See, this is why this is what really makes a lot of them upset. As you see that rabbi right there, he was trying to say, look, give up your traditions of being ancient Israelites and come practice Judaism. Convert over to being a Jew. Convert to being Jewish. Come on, family. Y'all have to pay attention to the words, the word selection. Amari Stoudemire knew that he was an Israelite, but he converted when he was playing for Israel. He played for Israel basketball team. He converted. Harry Rosenberg was in an interview a couple of days ago saying, hey, he helped Amari convert. So being a Jew is conversion. It's converting to this religion that is anti-Torah, to converting away from your heritage to a religion. To me, that sounds no different than Christianity. Many have jumped out of the frying pan of Christianity and jumped right smack into the fire of Judaism. You say, hey, I'm not going to be a Christian. I'm leaving that stuff. I'm not dealing with Christianity anymore. I'm coming out of Christianity. I'm going to be an Israelite. But then you start getting into a lot of this other, rabbinical literature. And before you know it, you're converting over to Judaism. With many of these guys that go from Israel to these tribes, they're going there, giving them their copy of Torah, their understanding of Judaism, and they're converting many of them over to, practicing Judaism. They're making the original seeking to be converted. Come on, family. Come on, family. That's basically what it is. They want to convert the original. So this is why you have among the Jewish community, as we pointed out, the genetic distances, because it's conversion. This is why they're able to come up with this so-called Kohanim chi chart or whatever. Because why? All they're doing is saying, hey, we got all these Y chromosomes, mutations because of conversions. So they're going to look for the least among them and say that that's going to be the Levitical priest. That's basically the rule. That's basically the formula. And we're going to say that's the Levitical priest. Family, we have to just wake up, family. So I dropped the link inside the comment section. I'll do it one more time if anyone want to jump on. Thought I saw Jay Highstyle, but if you guys not able to jump on, that's fine. But I just want to stop right here. I'm going to use this as a stopping point, and we'll deal with it a little more. We'll deal with this book right here. We'll go into more of this book right here, genetic disorders, which actually ties into some of the things that I've already covered out of this book right here that I encourage you guys to purchase. Right, this is the book that I'm quoting from. Right, so I encourage you guys to purchase this book. Sacrifice the money. All right. So with that being said, family, I think we had a great discussion tonight. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. I'll put the link inside the comment section. We'll give it another minute or so. All right. And so far we proved that article that Rolling Stones article, very deceptive, filled with a lot of lies, purposely to undermine this awakening. That's all it's about, to undermine this awakening. All right. So let me go ahead and bring my brother in here. Go Africa. And I really appreciate this brother. I really appreciate him doing a lot to wake up our people. How you doing, my brother? How's everything?
Man, I am doing good. Just woke up not too long ago. Over here, man, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah. So I'm good. I've been watching your show, man. Appreciate you. I want to bring some clarity on some of the videos that I've been doing, because I believe me and you are in alignment. And people have been asking me about, I've been saying, don't take on these identities. I've been using words like, we are the original. If they're saying they're the Jews, no matter, because this is what I see. I'm quite sure you probably saw my video when I interviewed the Limba. And then when I see the video you just showed, when the rabbi was over with the Igbos, I saw that video too a couple years ago. And it was so good to see the brothers stand on knowing who they are. And so these twisted words of Jew, Israelites, Hebrews, because there's so many sects that's, of these groups that we hear, and everybody has their own defined meaning of what that means. And so I'm sharing with people is like, we know we are the original. If you don't know you're the original, if you don't know we're the first of of the human race, if we don't know that, then what we do as a people is go searching. And what these Jewish people are doing, like you said, they've come here into Africa and they're trying to get our brothers and sisters to submit to Judaism. So we have to be very careful what we call ourselves. Just know that when we are original, we're the original. If they're going to say that they are Jew or they are the Israelites or the children of God, no. Everything starts with us. We are the children. We are the Israelite. If they're going to try to confuse the word of being Jew or whatever, we that too. So what I'm seeing, because of this is what I see, brother. Can you hear me clearly?
Oh, yeah. I'm listening to you. Talking good. I totally understand what you're saying.
You're breaking it down perfectly. And that is, a Jew is a convert. This is a person who's fallen under the origin, the religion of Judaism. Okay. And they make it seem like that it is so much important. They take the forefront. They're the ones, who's been persecuted. They are the ones who are God's children. They got these DNA tests now. They got all of these things. But this is the scheme that I see what they're doing. Because they know, and it's already been proven, just like the Limba tribe told me over in Zimbabwe, that they have the strongest concentration. They know they part of the Levites.
Yep.
They have the strongest concentration when this test was done, what have you, on who they are. Now we got to be careful with the enemy, because what they're going to do is this DNA test is going to become very common, and they're going to try to bring us all to the surface. We got to find out who these people are, who's got the strongest concentration. We got to find where they are. And when we do, now let's eradicate them. Let's find out. We will make them seem as though they're special, just like that rabbi was doing with the brothers there in Nigeria. He saw how strong they knew who they were. There was no shaking them. There was no moving them. Well, what's our next step then? We have to find out these people. How can we find out who they are? Let's test them all. You've seen the video where he even threw that net to African Americans. We got to find these Jews. We got to find these Israelites. We got to find them, because the truth is coming out, which means then that it puts us on the outskirt. We now go from the front to the back. See, this is what was done to them in their atrocities, in their Holocaust. They were filtered out to find out who are these people, and they're going to do the same to us. And we got to be very careful when we start to identify ourselves with these names. Look, we ain't got to run around and talk about who we are. You ain't got to run around and all, because Judaism has already come. That's why I said in my video, these people, when I see my brothers with them god doggone beanies, with that Star of David on the shawl, that is Judaism.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I see them doing this when they in prayer. I was in a service with them right here in Zimbabwe. And when they're doing this, right, that is Judaism.
Yeah. And that's demonic. That's davening.
Yes.
That's copulating on the wall. That's an actual perverted thing that they're doing.
So they creep in, no different when I was in Ethiopia. And when I was interviewing and I was showing a picture of how in the 1100s, in the 10th century, they have a picture of Yeshua who's black and have an afro. But in that church too, you have all of these pictures of a white Jesus. And they're in the outside of the church, they are in the inside of the church, and they're following its way. And you can see the roadmap of trying to get up on the top of the wall, which eventually it will, so that they can put their stamp of who they say this Jesus is, not Yeshua. There's two different things here. This is the demonic spirit that wants to eradicate the truth. That's why when I say, don't identify with all of these terms and terminologies that they say we should be. Just know we are the original. We are the children. We are the Israelites. We can argue about Hebrew and Israelites and Jew and you know, all of these different names that we're going to hear. You know, now we got ADOS and FBAs and we got and we this and we that. Just know that we are the original, because it comes down to being tested. If it's going to come down to finding out who these people are, it's going to be a genocide.
And one of the easiest ways to do the genocide is through GMOs.
Hence, that's a good point. I'm going to do a video. Bill Gates was just here in Africa pushing the GMO product just last week. And they think it was great. Bill Gates is here. He's pushing the GMO, saying that it's going to end starvation in Africa. Hold up. I know any European coming in Africa has agendas and motives. And we think they are the savior of the world. We got to get out of this mindset, Pastor.
Yeah,
we got to get out of this mindset.
I totally agree with you. And it makes me think about this example I use. And, you know, you can tell me what you think of the dirty dime versus the shiny nickel, right? So there's these two brothers, right? The older brother and the younger brother. the older brother went to get a freeze pop. The freeze pop cost 10 cents, but his younger brother got a dime, and it's a dirty dime, and he wanted that dime so bad, so he tricked his brother by telling him, "Hey, look, I'll trade you my shiny nickel for your dirty dime." And initially, his little brother like, "No, no, no, I want to keep my dirty dime," but he's like, "Wait a minute, my shiny nickel is cleaner than your nickel. I mean, your dime is bigger than your dime." I mean, he just really laid it on him. And before you know it, his little brother sat there like, "Oh, well, you are right. It is bigger. It does weigh more and it's cleaner." And he traded him. He gave him his dirty dime for the shiny nickel. So then later, their mother come and take them to the store to go buy some freeze pops. So they get to the counter to spend their own money. And so the big brother took out the dirty dime and purchased a freeze pop, while the little brother realized that his shiny nickel was less of value, and he got duped by his older brother, and he started crying, right? And the mother didn't reward him because the mother told him, "I told you, you need to learn how to count for yourself."
Yeah.
So that's what we see happening right now. They're trying to take, as he said, "Do you want to give up your ancient Israelite culture and convert to Judaism to become a Jew?" You can't get no plainer than that. He made it clear what the agenda is. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, that was a perfect example of what you just illustrated, and that's how we always get tricked into these different things. I mean, we've gone from being the nigger off the ship, then they want to give us the Negro, then they want to give us the black, then they want to give us an African American, then now they call us back black. Now we're going to be trying to put more names on us, and we think that it validates us. I tell our people, when you get connected with the Most High is going to reveal to you who you are. I know I'm from the tribe of Levites. I know that. I look at my family, and I used to ask myself, why is my family so upstanding and upright? From my grandfather, my great-grandfather, on my mama's side and my daddy's side. I did the DNA test when I was back in America a few years ago, because that was the thing, like find your roots and all this stuff right here. And it says that my family comes from the Cameroon region, but we know the Cameroon is just a made-up country.
That's right.
We still do know that you have the Igbo and all them in that whole region and stuff like that. But I know by what the Lord showed me that just look at my lineage of my family, of the righteousness of, I can look back and see how we were as a people. We weren't perfect people, and we did dirt and stuff like that, but we stayed a course with the Most High. We did not fall off track. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm telling people is that the Lord's going to show you who you are. If you can't see that you are original, if you can't see the starting point. That's why I tell people the Europeans have no concept of a spiritual God. They only tie to books and religion.
Yeah.
That's why you can dig in their soil. You can't find nothing spirituality in their land. The concept of God came out of Africa.
That's right. That's right.
The whole concept. So they're the ones who created the images and stuff like that. Some of us kind of fell into, by the sword of falling into Islam, by the muzzle of the gun falling to Christianity, and then we kind of went off stray and all that right there. But we gotta get back to where we were in the alignment of the Most High. And they're gonna continue what they put us in slavery, showing us the shiny trinkets, like the shiny nickel. They came over trying to trade mirrors and these different little things that we thought we were like, ooh, this is very valuable. Well, this is what they're doing with this whole thing now of when we're coming into an enlightenment of who we are, they're going to start throwing these things out of like Judaism at us, trying to get us to come over. So it makes them even that much more larger and much more stronger. But I just did the video of, look, it is evident of who these people are on the treatment they're doing to the Ethiopians.
That's right. That's right. That's right. People don't talk about that. because I did a study on them years ago, and the red flag that came out was they were decreasing in numbers, versus increasing, and they found out that they were injecting them with birth control drugs that Hitler was using during the Holocaust. So now they're being injected with the same medicines without their knowledge, and some are being even forced that, hey, if you don't do this, then we're going to send you back. So
Exactly.
go ahead. There you go. Go ahead.
You just hit on it. And this goes to full circle what I'm saying. They're doing the same thing to us. What was done to them supposedly was done to them.
That's right.
This contraceptive drug that they inject into the Ethiopian women, this whole thing, what I said, they're going to filter us out. They want to find who are the original. We got to eradicate them. So the truth of the matter is they already showing their hand. They aren't the true original of Yah. They are not. Why? When you look at our history, we have never went and enslaved people. We've never went to create crusades and murder, even black folks that are in America. We never rose up against the white people. We've been marching about fair and equitable treatment. We've had small pockets of, the Scots and these who were on plantation who rose up and fought against it, but not trying to eradicate a race of white people. We are a people that are from Yah. We just don't have it in us to do such a thing. But it is evident when you see their behaviors there in Israel. These are not the original people. We are.
You hitting it on the nail, and perverting everything that's deemed to be holy. Like the word Zion in Israel, people don't understand. It's a byword. It's a curse word. Mm-hmm. It's the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Right. We could go right down a list of certain words that's positive in the scriptures is made into a perversion. And again, you hit it right on the nail. Why do we keep putting ourselves in position to be validated? Just for them to say, oh yeah, well, I'm convinced that you guys are the people of the book. And you see how our Igbo brothers, they celebrating, and then look how he dropped the bomb on them. He slid that in so crafty to where as though, he's like, oh yeah, you are the people. And he kept saying Gad, even though they saying, wait a minute, we got all the tribes here. He kept pushing Gad, and then he dropped the bomb on him.
Yeah. Or what he was saying that, you're like 90%, you got some mixed Christianity in you, and you got some of the, do videos to let us know, what you see.
I'm with you. Go ahead. I'm with you.
It is amazing that we who have been around for some time, we got to educate our youth, because the youth is the future. And we have to, let them know how the mindset of the Europeans are. Even the Europeans, they don't know how they think because they've been conditioned to think certain ways. They don't even know they're a slave to their own people.
Yeah.
And so when I say, look, white people have been conditioned to think certain ways, it is just inherent in them to want to be supreme, to want to be in control, to want to be in charge, to think that they are the top, that they are the ones who's the teacher and not the students. This has been ingrained in them. So even when I see these young ones come in Africa, I always tell the Africans, beware. If you're letting them part of your group, they will find themselves in the forefront. They're going to find themselves in the position. They're going to tweak the group. They're going to change it, and they're going to have it into the way, because it's just the way they're wired. This is dangerous. We got to get out of this, because we've been students long enough. We've been in their colleges, in their high schools, elementary schools, that has indoctrinated us to believe that they are this teacher, and they're not.
That's right. And even just listening to some of your testimonies that you share when I'm watching your videos, like you shared a powerful testimony about what you had to deal with in the military, the politics. And I'm sure you can relate to us that it's okay for others to have that's outside our community. But when you have, or if you're in leadership, right, they don't want to submit to your leadership. We always got to be supervised, even from people that we're leading. hey, did you see Go Black to Africa? I came by his desk and he wasn't there. Have y'all seen him? Well, what are you looking for me in the first place? Just little subtle things that they put out there to try to track what we're doing. Our interview continues even after we get the job. You know what I mean? So you shared some great, powerful words about when I heard you talking to, what's his name, the young guy that's in Africa, when he was, when you was visiting him this past weekend, and you shared with him about the military. It's like, look, the military don't care. It's all about their agenda. It served a point. It served a tool. But if I could do it all over again, that wouldn't be a path I take. But still, but it was great how you gave clarity to him to understand that the military is not what people think it is. It's not, especially for being you and I in there. Because I was in the Air Force like you. It seemed like we had so much in common because I dealt with the same thing. I even had a couple of my inventions stolen from me, right, in the military. So, but you hitting it right on the nail.
The Air Force Form 2000. And that right there is, if you have an invention or your idea, you can fill out the form, submit it. If they take on your idea, they'll give you some money or something like that, but sometimes they'll deny it and take your whole idea. I remember the program they had on that.
Yeah, guess what they did to me? They sent me to another squadron. I was working at headquarters out at Langley. They was like, all right, we're shutting this squadron down, and we're gonna put you in another squadron within headquarters.
Yeah, I mean, and we got to continue to share the story of this history of the dominance and the control of what these people continue put us through. The brothers and sisters who are in the corporation, the institutions, and these jobs and institutions that we are the backbone. We are the origin. We are what keeps these companies going. They need our minds.
That's right.
I'm doing a research now on this right here was put in my spirit about a year or so ago of why was it that when the slave masters and them were sick, they always used an African child to sleep in the bed with them, or they'll put their feet on them. There is some science. There is some science to the power that we have. I believe there's some science into they have to have us around them. When we saw that when COVID hit, they ridiculed how Africa would be devastated, and it didn't touch just a little of Africa. And why is that? There are some things that are beyond what they want to reveal of who we are, and I believe that we are into some form of where the health is. They got to have us there. No difference. They got to have our minds there in their businesses. They got to have us there because we're the thinkers. We're the innovators, and they've always stolen from us those things.
Yeah.
And once we realize that really the power that we have, man, I'm telling family, y'all got to wake up and realize really the power of the Most High. Forget about this religion of what you have seen that have raped and robbed and pillaged our people. We have to get back to the Creator.
That's right.
Not this image that has been put in our head about some man, about some white God up there somewhere that's sitting around finding out who's naughty or nice. No, about how we are in the image of that Creator manifesting those things here on this earth that was giving us that's giving us the order. We were ordained to keep this earth, to be fruitful, to multiply. We were given the responsibility to be an example for the rest of the world. We were put into positions of being the head, not the tail, the lender, not the borrower. We were put in these positions. I didn't get it until I was 28 years old, Pastor.
Wow.
And once I stepped into that, I wasn't in no church. I was not in no Bible. Those came in a time where then when I was rose up and I went into the church, and I tell people I graduated Christianity. But when I realized I can do anything, man, anything I do, as long as I'm in alignment now with this creator, the God, the most high. When I realized the life that I came out of, darkness, and came into this light, and I aligned myself, and I fell off track, and I got the consequences thereof, and I realized now in the spiritual component of aligning yourself up with the creator. And if you stay that path, you can do anything that's given to you on this earth.
That's right.
Don't submit to those people who think they are supreme. Don't identify yourself as these titles and these names. I am that I am. And you're not going to box me in a small box to say that I'm something that I'm not. This is what Moses was trying to figure out, the Most High. But who do you say you are? I am that I am. But they're not going to understand that when you tell me to say, oh, I am that I am said that, let my people go. And say the Lord. Because as soon as you give me a title, you then now restrict my abilities in the minds of my people. I'm all knowing. I'm all powerful. Don't just give me no label, and I won't let people give me a label, because now you've condensed me to be less than.
That's right. That's right.
That's why I'm saying to people, be careful of these labels, because these labels now will have you be doing this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I got to get up now and pray 5 times a day.
That's
I tell
right.
people, I pray way more than that in a day.
That's right.
I speak to the Lord way more than that.
Absolutely.
Those are practices. Those are practice. You're practicing something. Now become it. I am it.
That's right.
There aren't no rules and boundaries of now how I walk. So we have to get to understanding. Look how powerful we are. Be careful and cautious, because the wolves are watching. They're seeing the people waking up. I just did the video. You saw it of the rabbi. He's casting the net. He wants to speak to the African Americans now. He wants to. And the Lord told me. The God told me to tell you. That sounds very familiar. We know that God done told me to tell you. That's right there. That sounds we familiar with that.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Now they're gonna round you all up, and they're gonna give you a nice special, as you said, a shiny title. They're gonna make you feel special. And now they got you stuck in Judaism. Now you back where you was, like you said. Now you left one religion, and now you going into another religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you've made them more powerful, a bigger unit, a powerful force now to even wreck down, because now they brought in the African Americans. Now they're gonna be hitting on Brazil and Central America. We can get all these people, and we can get books and classes and schools, and we can get money out of these people. We can teach them all these things right here. And this is what they're going to do. So be on the lookout, family.
You hit him right on the nail.
I appreciate you. Yeah,
you hit him right on the nail.
Yeah.
Man, you hit it on the nail, man. I mean, just what you pointed out, and that's one of the things I talked about. Wherever you see, for example, the Ethiopian Israelites that was discovered, Hebrews that was discovered, actually they were always there. What did they do? Oh, we're going to send books out to them, and we're going to take their original copy of the Torah, and we're going to mesh it with our copy, our modified copy, and we're going to saturate it with Judaism. So that way, now when they come here, we're going to make sure that we're going to use the so-called Operation Moses to reel them in, and then when we get them to pushing our agenda, now it's going to be hard for them to go back. Because and that's what you, just to the point that you made, they're setting us up to where as though we fall for the okie doke, but it's going to be hard for to go back from that stuff once you commit to that stuff, because now your reputation, going back to the name, your name among your own, now it holds no weight. Now it's become that shiny nickel.
Yeah. And that's why when the Most High is, I see how I'm being directed, and I have to put disclaimers along this path that where we as a people are going, because if we don't do what Yeshua did, and that is you have to alert the people. People don't realize that Yeshua, in speaking about the church, the synagogues, he always alerted the people. Be watchful of these people. Don't, as you see what they do, don't follow that. These people here, these are vipers, these are hypocrites. These people right here will make you twice the child from hell than you were before they converted you.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And just to your point, just real quick, and I'll let you finish your thought. Just what you said, Matthew 24 is a powerful chapter because the disciples asking, hey, when is the end of the world? When is all of this? When you coming back? When you going to do all these different things? They looking at how beautiful the temple look and everything. And the Messiah said to them, his first thing he said, hearken, behold, let no man deceive you. Before he started anything off, before he got into all the other stuff, he started to your point. He said, he talking to the disciples, those that are spending time with them. He said to them, let no man deceive you. Behold, hearken, let no man deceive you. He said, listen, let no man deceive you. And I just thought I'd put that out to tie into what you just pointed out. So I'll go ahead and let you finish your thought, but I just want to share that to just what you just said. The Messiah focused on them having discernment. Listen with intelligence. Don't get caught up with what you hear, what you see. We could talk about the future, but you need to deal with the present right now.
Yeah. I think you broke up a little. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. And that was it. The warnings have already been put out. The prophesies have been the signs that have been shown. The word's been put out to know what's to come. This is easy.
Yeah.
This is easy to see because it's already been told. It's easy to see where we're going into. It's easy when I did the video to show that, over in the UA, they have now, they're gathering all religions together to worship this soon to be one beast. You have Judaism, they have the synagogue, they have the cathedral, and then they have the mosque. And this right here is where they're trying to unify. They're trying to gather up all the people and bring them together because we already know what's coming down the pipe.
That's right.
We gotta get these people, we're gonna join all these together. Yeah, there's one God, we have this right here, we believe this right here. Well, look, hey, let's all come together as one. Well, we know what's gonna happen with that.
That's right.
So this is nothing much. This is just on the cusp of what's to happen when it comes to, yes, we're getting excited. People are finding out, whoa, yeah, there's information out here. Yeah, they're saying that we are the original. They're saying that we're this and that. Well, don't get too excited, family, okay? There is an agenda behind this. We got to be very skillful in how we move through this whole process of knowing we are the original. We can't show our hand all the time, just like him the rabbi going down, trying to shift them into this Judaism. And when he could not do it, when they were like, oh, no, there's many of us beyond just one tribe here. Oh, no, we know we are the ancients. No, we already know where we are. See, when he was trying to shift them and shake them and move them into the Judaism, he went back up north with his tail between his legs and said, I can't move them. Okay,
That's
no
right.
problem. Yeah, get your YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and try to cast the net out here and act as though you're speaking to the African Americans and letting them know that, yes, God has said that you are, the seed is in Africa. The seed is in Africa. See, let's not be beguiled. Let's not be the wolf in the sheep's clothing. Let's be alert, because Christ talked about the wolf in the sheep's clothing, talked about those who say, Lord, Lord, I don't know you, never knew you.
That's right.
We got to be careful of those people who always talk about Lord, Lord, God told me. These you got to be very careful of, and because they are coming to lead us astray, to worship that beast.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the dress rehearsal with this whole pandemic. That's the dress rehearsal. You
That's
know,
the dress for her.
and as you said, Bill Gates coming over to Africa trying to push the GMO, and
Yeah.
I did a video and YouTube took it. I mean, they took it down like before I could even. I mean, literally took it down like that. I was dealing with the GMOs, and they gave me not one strike but two strikes off of one video. But it was dealing with what we see happening here in the States with Detroit, and not just Detroit, other communities similar to Red Summer or Blood Summer, where over 60 communities of ours across the country was attacked with military artillery that we really don't talk about. We talk about Black Wall Street, but many don't know that Black Wall Street happened all across this country, right? Far as them targeting our communities. And so I was touching on the water situation, the lead that's in the pipes, how they purposely are not allocating monies to those areas with the purpose of standing up more and more, what you call it, dialysis centers. They turn into grocery stores into Dollar Generals, uh, old medicine from their community, bringing it over to our community and disguising it as if it's new medicine. So it's all kinds of things that's going on. And I identified this in this video, and they knocked the video down before it could even premiere and gave me two strikes off of it.
Well, I want to thank you for all what you do, brother. And I appreciate you having me here tonight on your platform, and keep doing what you're doing, because definitely, we woke now.
That's right. That's right. Well, I look forward to.
Well, I appreciate it. Hey,
and my wife and I, we are planning a trip, and I definitely want to get with you to come out there to see. We already made it plans to start coming. I'm planning a trip to come out there in the early part of next year, the spring of next year. So I definitely want to plan a trip to come and meet with you and just break bread with you, because I really appreciate all that you're doing.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Y'all have a blessed night, and I'm off here. It's my morning, so get my day started. So I'll take care.
Hey, love you, man, and keep doing what you're doing.
Love you, brother. All right.
All right. Well, family, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys tonight. Thank you, Go Black to Africa, for coming on to the channel and blessing us with some words of wisdom. And family, there you have it. You see the playbook right in front of us. And as you already see that what we went through tonight's lesson, and then to top it off with the icing on the cake with the words of wisdom by Go Black to Africa. And he's doing a great work, doing all that he can to wake our people up, to help break that the way that we've been hacked, as Pastor Darby would say. We've been jacked, right? They say they jacked us, man, and they really did a number on us on how we process things, how we think. So, family, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the love and support. Share the video, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and Go Black to Africa. That's his channel, Go Black to Africa. I encourage you guys, if you're not part of the channel, go to his channel right now and subscribe to it. But thank you, family. Getting ready to take it down. It's his morning to him, right? He's just getting up out of bed. Here, I'm getting ready to go to bed. Been up all night. And I want to say before we go, thank you, Sister Yvette, for the super sticker. Thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate you, family. So again, let's show some love for Sister Yvette. Thank you for the contributions. Thank you again, sis. And we're going to take it down. We're going to take it down. And in the words of Moses, right? In Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14, Israel came out of Egypt. They were led out of Egypt, but then they faced another obstacle, water right in front of them, that appeared to be a dead end, right? They began to get restless. They began to complain because their past, which represents the Egyptians, they were coming to kill whoever they could kill and bring them back into bondage. So Moses had to share these encouraging words with them at the instructions of the Most High. He said to them, Fear ye not. Stand still and see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, these strongholds that you see here today, these attacks that you see here today, these deceptions that you see here today, these this war cry that you hear right now, these things that you see today will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. The special portion of that instruction says, we must hold our peace. And the Hebrew word in that text is karash, which means be quiet. Can't go back, can't stay here, keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.